for their second MEAC win of the year, but the Wildcats of Bethune-Cookman have won each of the last 6 head-to-head matchups. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jeff Arnold, joined alongside by Varun Raghupathy. These are 2 teams, Varun, that have very different styles offensively, but one thing about them is the same, is that they'll each be using multiple quarterbacks in the game. The problem, though, today for both teams is that the primary QB in each system doesn't look like they'll be available.
The visiting team, Bethune-Cookman, loves to run a spread offense and throw the ball. Problem is, though, you look at our hair, you look at our suits, it's pretty windy out here today. Might be a little bit tougher for them to throw it. The host team is a power-running team. It could play into their hands.
Meanwhile, if Bethune-Cookman can find a way to get the pass and figure out how to use it effectively, they'll be going to Kevon Mitchell, who can line up pretty much anywhere in the formation.
He's a guy who, his head coach Terry Sims says he's been making plays since week 1 of his freshman year. So he's somebody that Morgan State really needs to look out for.
When the Wildcats decide to run the football, they'll have to deal with a very talented linebacking core, and it's led by Damari Whitaker.
It is overall a great linebacking core. The head coach, Ernest T. Jones, has nothing but praise for these guys, especially for Whitaker, who he says can play through pain and catch up with second and third wide receivers as well.
And Ernest T. Jones says it might be one of the best linebacking cores in the entire FCS. How will they do today against a Bethune-Cookman team without their primary quarterback and a team that has to deal with the wind? We'll wait and see. It's Bethune-Cookman and Morgan State, and it's coming up next on the Sports Fever Television Network.
Samsung Black Friday offers start now.
Bethune Cookman Wildcats. Kickoff is right around the corner. Before we tee things up, we'll send it down to the third member of our team, Chad Landers.
Yeah, guys, you were talking about quarterbacks in this game, and I want to go a little bit more in-depth with that thought. When Morgan State's offense takes the field here in just a minute, they are going to be starting a true freshman at quarterback. Tyler Hawley got to play at Perry Hall High School, just down the road 7 miles from here. Big start for him, his first of the year. Coach Ernest T. Jones was brimming with excitement when he talked to me, because here's the thing, it's a curveball for Bethune-Cookman. They're not ready for this. He's excited about the athleticism from his young quarterback and wants to see what he has. So keep an eye on that. And again, keep an eye on the wind, as you have mentioned. As you can hear, it is picking up down here, and that could play a factor today. We'll send it back up to you guys.
And Chad, DeAndre Harris, who normally leads the charge for Morgan State offensively as the quarterback, he is likely not going to be able to play today. And then Bethune-Cookman dealing with something similar as Akevis Williams, who is their main quarterback in their dual quarterback system, not likely to play. David Israel is expected to be doing most of the duties today. Giovanni Francis will kick things off as we are ready for football today from Morgan State. Jeff Arnold, Varun Raghupathy, and Chad Landers with you as the MEAC schedule begins to come to a close. And away we go. This will sail through the back of the end zone. Francis is kicking with the wind at his back. And a touchback will have things start for Morgan State at their own 25-yard line.
Well, we up here in the booth, Jeff, have to make sure that nothing blows away. But I think it's more important for the people on the field, especially for this Morgan State offense, to make sure that their true freshman quarterback, Tyler Hawley, isn't throwing the ball directly into the wind. They got to be creative with their play calling. They love to run the football, this Morgan State team. We'll see how they help Hawley. Maybe give him some confidence with some short throws that can slice through the wind on either side in the flat.
As Chad said, local product, went to Perry Hall High School. And the one thing that will help out Morgan State is that they are a run-first team, and that is a big principle for Ernest T. Jones. And a flag comes in as it looks like we have a delay of game. Our referee today is Eric Green, so that's never the way you like to start things off in your first college game, a delay of game. So Delvell move back to the 20-yard line. Joshua Chase is in the backfield. He has the handoff. Chase pushes his way out to the 25-yard line, so it'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Let's take a look at the Morgan State offense. Tyler Hawley, his first ever start. Joshua Chase has been very good. And then Corey Holmes spent time at Notre Dame and Purdue. The offensive line is extremely big for the Bears as they average 6'4", 310 pounds along the front five.
There are some scouts here from NFL teams that are watching all these players, but especially the Morgan State offensive linemen. Keep an eye on their performance. Another flag.
And this will be a false start, so back goes Morgan State again.
And remember, in Morgan State's last game against Florida A&M University, they had 13 penalties for 123 yards.
A point that Ernest T. Jones has said has to be cleaned up this week. Marcus Ford was a great prospect out of high school. The linebacking core has got some experience in it. And then in the secondary, a lot of guys that can move to the football with lots of speed.
Number 61, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Wow, this is...
Dallas Caperletti is called for the false start. So we've seen 2 false starts and a delay of game.
And the delay of game was the first play of the game. So this is not good for Morgan State. They'll get a talking to from Coach Jones, but they need to make sure they get something positive here.
Second down. Again, this is Chase. Chase will surge out to the 18-yard line and pick up 3 on the play.
And if you're Bethune-Cookman, you know that this team loves to run the football. You know that with the win and a true freshman quarterback, that they're definitely going to run the football. So that makes game planning, at least for this drive, a lot easier if you're the Wildcats.
Morgan State, they may like to run the football, but they're averaging only 143 yards on the ground a game. That is 9th out of 10 in the MEAC.
And it's about 3.3 yards per carry as well. They got big bruising backs, but they need blocking.
Third down and a mile, going to the air and nearly intercepted. Tydarius Peters, if he's able to make that catch, it's a pick 6.
Yeah, without question. And you could tell right when Holly let that one go, everybody kind of had this look of regret on their faces and in their body language. And looking at this one again, I mean, this is clearly a kid who's seeing all open space and not coming down with the ball before making that catch. He'll certainly get a talking to from his coach. But at the same time, the Wildcats get the ball without Morgan State doing much of anything.
Nicholas O'Shea is the punter for Morgan State. Rugby-style kick. Kevon Mitchell is the one that is back. And this ends up resting at the 46-yard line. And so it means that Bethune-Cookman's offense takes the field in positive territory to start things off. It's a Bethune-Cookman offense that is second in the MEAC in scoring. They're averaging almost 30 points a game. And they have got a lot of playmakers. Kevis Williams was going to start at quarterback, but he's unlikely to play today. David Israel starts in his place. The offensive line is a little bit newer. Dwayne Brown is the only returning starter on that unit.
It took them a while, according to Coach Sims, to get going. You take a look at the Morgan State defense's linebacking core, Whitaker, McBurrow, Kennedy. Look for those guys more than anybody. For the offensive line of the visitors, though, took them a while to gel.
And Whitaker is second in the MEAC in tackles as the pass to the sideline is incomplete. Intended target there was for Teron Mallard, redshirt sophomore from New Bern, North Carolina. There is David Israel. He is a redshirt sophomore from South Carolina. Started out in junior college, went to West Virginia. West Virginia had a notion of turning him into a wide receiver, which is something that he didn't want to do. So he was freed from his commitment there, ended up coming to Bethune-Cookman, and now is starting at quarterback today. So a lot of flags fly, and this time it will be Bethune-Cookman who is pushed back.
Offense.
Hey, Chuck! I ain't got no students with me today. I can do this all by
Well, at least
myself.
it isn't just Morgan State committing the penalties. At least you're looking at it from that direction if you're a Bears fan.
Second down now and 19. Israel rolls out trying to direct traffic. He's in a lot of trouble, and down he goes at the 30-yard line. It was Haran Ransom that led the charge for Morgan State, as Ransom from Don Bosco Prep is able to author a massive loss for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Jersey kid coming in. Israel does a pretty good job of avoiding the initial takedown, but great work from Ransom to stay with it. and bring him to the turf. And that's a case of inexperience. You don't want to go that far back without trying to at least giving yourself an opportunity to throw it away. So that's a youthful play there for the Wildcats.
3rd down and a helicopter ride for the Wildcats. Israel being chased again. Now he'll fire over the middle, and it's incomplete. Missed it his intended target up at midfield, as it was Jonathan Thomas who he was looking for. So both teams start off the game operating way behind the chains, and it means punting time for the Wildcats.
You know, it's interesting, though, on that throw by Israel, if he brings it a little bit closer to his receiver's body, he has a lot of open space. I'm not saying he could have broken it for a first down run, but he certainly could have gotten pretty close to the sticks.
Jordan Cofield is back. Giovanni Francis doing the punting for Bethune-Cookman. He only had 1 punt a week ago against Nebraska. And then the rest of the game, it was Uriel Hernandez that did the punting. Spiraling kick. Fair catch is called for, and it'll be taken up around the 15-yard line. So neither side scores on its first offensive drive of the game. Morgan State will try and put some momentum together as we take a timeout. Morgan State and Bethune-Cookman on the Sports Fever Television Network Game of the Week. The Hotels by Marriott Baltimore Hunt Valley has everything you need and want. Call today or book online for a reservation at Marriott.com. So each team has the football to start things off. Tyler Holly lining up as the quarterback for Morgan State. David Israel starting as the quarterback today for Bethune-Cookman, and both offenses found themselves in terrible spots as Morgan State will begin this drive at their own 17-yard line. And a short pickup of 3 yards up to the 20-yard line. Joshua Chase is the one on the carry. Starting running back, Chase certainly fits the mold of what Ernest T. Jones wants in a running back.
Yeah, he says as long as I'm here, we'll have 200-plus pound bruisers. We'll run between 40 to 45 times a game, try and wear you down. It might not work at the beginning, but later in the game, they'd be in good shape.
And another flag comes in. This is the 3rd false start already against the Bears.
63, offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
I'm trying to diagnose what the issue is. I know it's windy, but that shouldn't really, it's not loud, so that can't really play a part of it. I really don't understand. Perhaps it's just a lack of discipline on the point of these players. And Coach Jones does a good job getting them prepped. They gotta be ready.
Stefan Tuani is the one that is called for the flag. If you're having issues hearing Eric Green's referee microphone, it is because of the wind. Chase bouncing it off the outside, and he'll be escorted out at the 20-yard line. So this is a gain of 5 yards, but still some work to do on 3rd down for Morgan State.
Yeah, definitely. And on the first 3 drives, both teams have been behind schedule and not necessarily even close to being on schedule. This is a good job of running, and it'll be tough for these guys to run when you consider that Bethune-Cookman knows that they're going to be doing a lot of the running. So credit to them when they do get big gains like that.
Morgan State 7th in the MEAC on 3rd down conversions. The throw to the flat is completed, but it is short of the first down by a couple of yards. Corey Holmes is the one that makes the catch. Holmes, before coming to Morgan State, spent time at Notre Dame as well as Purdue. But his catch won't give Morgan State enough for the first down, and they'll punt.
Yeah, they want to get Corey Holmes more involved. That was one of the things that Coach Ernest T. Jones was saying this week, and that's a good way to do it, but of course you want him to run a route that goes 8 yards instead of 5, or even 7 yards to put you closer in terms of 4th down. I'll have to punt.
Looked like Ernest T. Jones with some words for Tyler Holly, who's making his first appearance as a college quarterback today. Mitchell is the one that is back.
Ooh.
Goes through his hands. And then Mitchell gives some ground back. So he made the decision to try and field it, and then he had to go all the way back to his own 34-yard line to track it down. It was Hebron for Morgan State that was able to make the tackle. And a long field coming up for the Wildcats. Wildcats 4-5, 2-2 in MEAC play this year. But you think about great teams in the MEAC Bethune-Cookman typically at the top of the list. Here's another glance at that ball going through the legs of Kevon Mitchell.
Mix of a weird hop, certainly the win, which we'll continue to talk about, but that's one that you got to feel cleanly if you're Mitchell. Otherwise, don't get anywhere near it.
Big run here by Bethune-Cookman. It's Isaac Washington who takes it inside of Morgan State territory. He's inside the 45-yard line to the 43. We welcome all our viewers that are joining us that watch the Howard and Florida A&M game. Jeff Arnold, Varun Ragapathy, and Chad Landers with you on a windy day from Baltimore. 33-yard gain, now a first down and 10 for the Wildcats. Here's the handoff to Isaac Washington again. And Washington will move forward to the 41-yard line for a pickup of 2.
Jeff, we talked about this, texted each other during the week about how Bethune-Cookman, because of where they are in Florida, they can get so many great athletes from the state of Florida. Washington is another example. Not everybody can go play wide receiver at the U, but there's plenty of schools and plenty of athletes down there, and Bethune-Cookman can certainly benefit. There's a number of Florida guys on this team, and they can ball.
Handoff to Washington again. He'll move it inside the 40-yard line and pick up 3 more. Now, you look at this Bethune-Cookman roster, they have players that were recruited by ACC schools, Big Ten schools, and then you had some that even spent time at some of these Power 5 conferences.
Absolutely. And even if you're getting the looks, that means that you're an incredible high school player. There's only so many spots at these schools from high school football players to go. So there's definitely a lot of top-end talent on the field here today.
Third down coming up. Jabari Dunham is the quarterback. Washington with the handoff, and he is stuffed. Ends up giving 1 yard back on this play. Running into the big defensive line of Morgan State, as it was Chris Fatagama, the senior from right here in Baltimore, that made the play.
Yeah, a couple of local products for this Morgan State team. Great to see. This is a terrific football area as well. And credit to the Bears on this drive. They give up a huge gashing run by Washington, and then they tighten the screws a little bit. And I don't believe that Bethune-Cookman got another first down after that long run.
France is on for his second punt. Angles this one to the far side. And what a beautiful job. This one is down at the 1 yard line. Dante Small elected to let it go. And Bethune-Cookman able to jump on it as Vernon Walker grabs it right before it can roll into the end zone. 7:29 to go in the first, and 99 yards for Morgan State to travel.
And you know what makes that tougher is that punt was going with the wind. So there's a good chance that that thing just scoots into the end zone before anybody can do anything about it. Good job by Bethune-Cookman to have not one but 2 guys there ready to down it. And you really can't ask for a better spot to down it than the half-yard line, essentially.
We were talking to a radio team for Bethune-Cookman before the game. That's actually a weakness of Giovanni Francis, is trying to make sure you can pooch it effectively.
Flag coming out, movement at the line.
Flag flies, and so this will put this ball on the half-yard line.
Yeah, it's a false start. And that's number 4, if I'm not mistaken, on Morgan State. This is the last place you want one of those.
Right. 74, okay. False start. 74, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
So it's a false start on Nicholas Ruse, and there he is, right side of your screen, second from the top.
You can see the Bethune-Cookman players right away were making the motion, telling the ref, throw the flag, throw the flag.
So we are about halfway through the first quarter, and Morgan State has almost halfway to the amount of penalties it committed last week against Florida A&M when it gave up 13. Trying to get out of the end zone. Is this a safety? Yes, it is. It is a safety. Joshua Chase was not able to get out of the end zone, and it looked like Kevin Thompson, who is also from Baltimore, was right there on the scene, as was Todney Evans. So it's a safety, And Bethune Cookman will have the football back. The high snap. DJ Golot handed it off to Chase, and he could not escape the end zone. 2-0 Wildcats on the Sports Fever Television Network.
Kevin Thompson gets credited for the tackle in the end zone.
The Lexus LS500 and LS500H. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Following a great punt by Giovanni Francis for Bethune Cookman that put Morgan State at their own 1 yard line. A false start penalty moves them even farther back. And then on a handoff to Joshua Chase, the Bears could not get out of the end zone as Thompson came in, made the tackle. 2 points for the Wildcats, and now they'll receive it. And making things difficult for Morgan State is that they'll be kicking into the wind.
And one note on that offensive line, 4 false starts against them in the first quarter already. So when they keep getting false starts called against them, they're less confident coming out and trying to make their blocks. And so that means that the defensive line wins that battle and gets a safety.
So he brought out to the 43-yard line. It was Vernon Walker, the third, that handled the return there for the Wildcats. Bethune Cookman, as we said, 4-5, 2-2 in MEAC play. Bethune Cookman, they actually don't have a bye this season, and the reason why is because a week ago they took on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Nebraska was looking for another game to play after they were not able to play their first game of the season on account of some weather problems. And it was a 45-9 win. Wildcats started off a little bit slow, but still Terry Sims, I think, took something away from the experience, as did the rest of his team. And a flag means that this play won't be going anywhere.
False start. Number 74, offense.
So it's not just Morgan State that's getting called for false starts. That's 2 on Bethune Cookman as well.
And both of them have been against Nicholas Ruse.
And I've brought it up, but I'll bring it up again. There are NFL scouts here. The Giants are represented here, and they're looking at, like, offensive linemen. There's a number of good prospects here. This is not the time to get called for false starts.
First down and 15 now. Play action, throw to the sideline, and it's incomplete. It was intended for Teron Mallard on the little throw to the sideline. And now a second down coming up.
I'll tell you, it looks like a really nice day, and it is for the most part, but this wind takes so much of your playbook away, and especially with these inexperienced quarterbacks on both sides, it is definitely going to be, I feel, a more simplistic football game today.
Second down and 15. Israel with the handoff. Able to elude one tackler, Ladarian Wilson, kind of a hard-charging running back of the bunch. He brings it out to the 47-yard line. So a solid chunk picked up, and now third down and medium.
There's another guy where we talked about how Bethune-Cookman has a ton of players from bigger schools. Well, he's a Maryland transfer. Now he's back near that area, and that was a really nice run. Good job to elude the first would-be tacklers. Good hard running.
He redshirted in his only season with the Terps in 2016. Third down and 6. And nothing this time for Ladarian Wilson. Morgan State had this play stiffed out almost immediately. Darius Johnson, senior, from Baltimore, the starting free safety, made the tackle.
And that's a couple of nice stops by this Morgan State defense. They gave up a big run on one of the first Bethune-Cookman drives that came back and got the offense off the field. After a couple of plays, they did the same thing here after a safety to get Bethune-Cookman off the field. Well done by the Morgan State defense. Lots to like from that unit so far.
Jordan Cofield is back for Morgan State.
Whoa.
And this one, the wind carries into the end zone. So you can't hit on all of them. Last time you got it to stop at the 1. This time it will be a little bit easier for Morgan State, but still a long way to go with 5:44 to go in the opening quarter. 2-0 Bethune-Cookman. Pennsylvania Lodging headquarters for all teams and fans. Enjoy our free Wi-Fi, pool, fitness center, and meeting rooms at both locations. Make a reservation today online at Marriott.com. Punt went into the end zone, and so Morgan State has the football at their own 20-yard line, and now DJ Golot will serve as the quarterback. Golot draws pressure almost immediately, now takes off and runs and makes it up to the 25-yard line. Nothing developed for him, so he picked up 5 on using his feet.
We spoke to the Morgan State SID administrators and asked them, how long of a leash does Tyler Holly have? And we were told, hey, give it 3 drives, and if nothing happens, they'll bring in a different guy. But it was only 1 drive, and then we saw Golot, and now he'll try and move this team down the field.
The handoff here to Jordan Riggins. And Riggins gets back to the line of scrimmage. Meiji surges forward for 1 more on this play. Riggins, he is from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and another one of those big backs for the Bears, 200 pounds. And Ernest T. Jones, he says he wants running backs that are between 200 and 225 pounds. 3rd down and 4 for Morgan State. A little bit of a better situation this time. Golot back, throws, and incomplete. Kennedy Ndukwe was there almost immediately. Didn't look like the receiver turned around in time. And for the Bears, it's another punt. So no traction for Morgan State, even though they've used 2 different quarterbacks.
Well, every drive they've been throwing into the wind, so when they have thrown, you really got to chuck bullets. And this one was almost picked off, actually. As that ball goes up, there was a defensive back for Bethune-Cookman that was nearly there, and he couldn't quite get to it, but still a good job by the Wildcats to force the punt.
Menajee Bailey was the intended target. Nicholas O'Shea will punt. O'Shea averaging 37 yards a boot. Kicking into the wind. End-over-end kick. And this will take a Morgan State bounce. Kevon Mitchell lets it go, and it rests to a stop at the 39-yard line. Bethune-Cookman has the football with a 2-0 lead, 4:21 to go in the first. Joshua Chase for a great punt by the Wildcats. Put Morgan State at the 1-yard line, then a false start, and then they try to hand off. Chase got caught in the end zone. Safety for Bethune-Cookman. Both teams today, it's a big storyline. Both teams use multiple quarterbacks, but neither of the main quarterbacks figures to play in this contest. Handoff coming right, a lot of room. Jimmy Robinson down the sideline, touchdown.
Touchdown, Wildcats.
61 yards. Robinson, who has started to see some more time in the backfield just because of an injury to Quayshawn Bird. He had plenty of room, and he took it to the house.
Well, I thought that he was going to get brought out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. I mean, hordes of space, and here's where it looked like he might have gone out. But instead, he keeps his balance, and he manages to tiptoe down the sidelines and keep his speed as well. Dante Small almost knocked him out. That was one heck of a run there. And that's what you got to do on a windy day like this. Got to make sure you can move it on the ground. Bethune-Cookman, they can do that.
Uriel Hernandez, the extra point, just sneaks it through. Well, Bethune-Cookman adds the PAT. The huge run by Jimmy Robinson, the first big play that we have seen offensively in this game. 9-0 Wildcats on the Sport Fever Television Network.
Center Cut Flows Filet. For a limited time, 14-ounce Delmonico. The feeling, the flavor, the place. Longhorn Steakhouse. You can't fake steak.
As they take on Delaware State in a MEAC clash starting at 1 o'clock from Hughes Stadium, and you can catch it on the Sports Fever Television Network. Jeff Arnold, Varun Raghupathy, and Chad Landers down on the sideline. See the wind blowing. Flag of Maryland, the American flag, and It's been an incredibly windy day, and even though Bethune Cookman, a spread offense, they decided to go to the ground, turn to Jimmy Robinson, a 60-plus yard touchdown run.
Well, I think that helps them, the fact that their identity is as a spread offense, but then, I mean, you have the wind here, and you're not going to be able to throw as effectively, so it's up to Morgan State, which has done well in terms of its rush defense for the most part, to continue to realize that Bethune-Cookman is going to run the ball and is not going to shy away from that.
Jordan Cofield catches it in the end zone, and Morgan State brings it out. And so you have Bethune-Cookman. They spread the ball around to a bunch of different receivers. They're an incredibly athletic team. And then Morgan State, they are all about the ground game and using big running backs and a big offensive line to clear the way for everybody. And right now, DJ Golat is in as the quarterback. Tyler Holly started the game for Morgan State. We'll see if Holly comes back in at some point. Well, first down from the 25.
Nice movement. I think that's false. It looks like the left guard.
63, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Tuani, that's his second one.
Yeah, it seems like every offensive lineman for Morgan State has at least one through this point. I know that they have at least 5 as a team, and that's got to be just befuddling for head coach Ernest T. Jones. I mean, it's not like he can get out there and tell them every single second, don't false start, don't false start. At a certain point, it's on the players to make sure that they're disciplined.
First down and 15. Tariq Johnson now in at the left guard spot. Big hitter down the sideline. Bailey hauled out of bounds. Huge gainer for Morgan State. Golat goes to the air. He threw for 148 yards a week ago, and there's the first big play of the game for the Bears.
So the wind has died down a little bit. That was the perfect time to call that play. The other team is thinking, oh, they'll continue to run. They'll just hit their heads into a wall. No, we're going to go deep with it. A perfect throw there by Golat, and well done to haul that thing in and get some yak afterwards.
Inside the Bethune-Cookman red zone. Golat back to throw. Pressure coming from the edge, and he is buried. It was Todney Evans, the graduate student, who came in to make a play. So this looks to be a loss of 7. And now a second down and long for Morgan State.
That'd be bad if it was just one free rusher, but a couple of guys got there. And that's tough if you're Golat. No chance to really do much of anything. Great job by Bethune-Cookman.
Second down. Ooh. This pass is caught. And it'll be close to the original line of scrimmage on this play. Bethune-Cookman, third down coming up. So you had that major gain, and then things have gone backwards as Deontay White is the one that made the catch.
And it was a great catch. That throw was above him and behind him, and he still readjusted to make it happen. Let's take another look. Just kind of yanks it out of the air, and then he stays on his feet pretty well.
Third down and 11. Throw to the far sideline. Trying to make it forward, but Xavier Gravette, he ends up going backwards, gives a couple of yards back. So Gravette, who's considered a good prospect for Morgan State, wide receiver spot, they really like what they're getting out of him. And after things started off promising, Alex Rea will come on for a field goal attempt.
I tell you, I like some of these playmakers from Morgan State. I think that you kind of see the relentlessness that they bring to the table. It's hard to bring them down. That is a bit demoralizing if you are Morgan State to get that long gain and then just go backwards from there, but still an opportunity for points.
37-yarder for Ray. He's hit from as long as 51. This is blocked. Scooped up. Ray gets blocked for the first time on a field goal attempt this year. Tidarius Peters was the one that blocked this attempt at the field goal.
Well, I don't know that you can blame the kicker there. It looks like he gets pretty good arc on it. That's just awesome work from Bethune-Cookman on the special teams unit. And what did Terry Sims, the head coach for Bethune-Cookman, say? He said, we spend a huge amount of time on special teams play every week. He looks at it, Coach Sims, as the third phase. Offense, defense, special teams, all on equal footing. And if you can make plays like that, there's no reason to go away from practicing special teams that much.
Ernest T. Jones, arms crossed along the sidelines. This first quarter has not gone the way he's wanted it to, but things improved slightly. Down goes David Israel in the backfield, and it was Ian McBurrow, starting outside linebacker, that is the one that comes up and takes Israel down.
Well, McBurrow is the captain of this defense. He's a vocal guy. You can imagine he's frustrated. His team's down 9-0. Offense is stalled out a couple times. Defense has given up a big play. He puts it on himself to go and try and shut down Bethune.
Israel just runs this time. He'll give 1 yard back as he does not make it up to the line of scrimmage. David Israel, redshirt sophomore from South Carolina, who we said was at West Virginia. And he came to Bethune-Cookman really with no promises. They said, all we'll give you an opportunity to do is compete. And he said, that's all I really need. Finds himself playing today with Akevis Williams not expected to see the field for the Wildcats. Inside of 30 seconds in this opening quarter. Third down and very long, and another big play by Morgan State. Israel goes down, and it looked like it was Devin Hebron that was right there.
Hey, for me, Jeff, the beginning of this game, hopefully this gentleman is all good, but beginning of this game, we have to talk about the offensive line struggles. Both of them, they've been getting called for false starts. They've had trouble stopping these rushers. I mean, both teams have gotten into the backfield. It hasn't just been one guy, it's been multiple players. So as we get to the second quarter, the offensive lines will definitely need to adjust. Now, this person down on the field, Nicholas Roos, we hope that he's okay because you definitely don't want to see him go out. He definitely has a chance to improve as this game goes along. But still, got to credit the Morgan State defense for getting a stop after the offense. It looked like they were headed for points and they didn't get any. So the Bears defense has been really good responding today.
The Clarion Holiday Inn Express and Suites is an outstanding new hotel just off exit 62 off I-80 in Clarion. Free high-speed internet, a full breakfast buffet, indoor pool, fitness center, and more waiting for you. Call for reservations at 814-223-4010. The Clarion Holiday Inn Express, your Sports Fever TV headquarters. And Ruse is being led off the field. He has both of his arms draped around members of the training staff for Bethune-Cookman. In a first quarter, where it's felt like both teams have played almost exclusively behind the sticks.
Yeah, off schedule, no doubt. Behind schedule, anyway. Good to see. It looked like Roos was getting more power on his legs as he was walking towards the sideline. Definitely, it's a bit of a chilly one out there, so it's definitely not going to be the easiest of recoveries, but hopefully he ends up back on this field.
Giovanni Francis, who nestled one inside the one earlier that led to a touchback for Bethune-Cookman. Helped out by the wind. This is retrieved by Cofield at the 20-yard line. Cofield now turns it upfield. And Cofield will be taken down at the 32-yard line, and that will be all for the first quarter. So we see one big pass, one big run. The big run by Jimmy Robinson. That's Bethune-Cookman at TD. They get a field goal and lead 9-0 after one.
Nifty Cleaners and Morgan State University.
Morgan State, proud tradition as well, especially between the years of 1929 and 1959. Had 173 wins during that stretch. And under Edward P. Hurt, legendary head coach, 14 CIAA titles for the Bears. And then Hurt, he's actually on the College Football Hall of Fame ballot for 2019. A very windy day for football. And Jordan Riggins is in at the running back right now.
The wind dies down when we're off air, picks right back up when we're on air.
This is why we're professionals, Varun, or something close to it. And a miscommunication on this throw. It was intended for Bailey.
And Bailey's the kid that caught the long pass earlier. He wanted another go route. He thought he had his man beaten. You know what? He was even. You know how the axiom goes. If he's even, he's leaving. And so he wanted that thing put up, and that ball would have been thrown with the wind at its back, too, so he could have housed it.
Yeah, and Elliott Miller looked like was in front of Bailey. Yeah, sure enough, Bailey had a little bit of space on Miller. 3rd down and 8 now for Morgan State, looking for their first points of the game. Riggins is in the backfield. Snap is back. Golot is hauled down at the 30-yard line. Tidarius Peters, who blocked the kick, was the one that made the play. Morgan State, no opportunity to try and do anything here except punt it away.
Yeah, I really like the way that Bethune-Cookman defended there. One thing that we learned about this team from talking to the coaches is that if any type of gap opens up, any hole opens up, offense or defense, the Bethune-Cookman players will be there. There's a great look at the Wildcats, clearly sensing that Golot has a lot of room in front of him, and a bunch of them catch up to him and make sure that he can't rip off a big gain.
O'Shea, another punt, goes back to Mitchell, fields it at the 29. Ooh. Mitchell's got moves. And he's out of bounds right around the 40-yard line. We've seen Bethune-Cookman get some good starting field position. They haven't really done anything with it yet.
No, other than that big run and the safety, which accounts for the 9. It isn't 3 field goals. It's a touchdown and a safety. We haven't seen too much. And you got to credit the Morgan State defense. They've been playing well. Another storyline for Morgan State, as you take a look at Mitchell and his elusiveness, this is a really nice return. Just a good job to get as many positive yards as you can. For Morgan State, they're still looking for their first home win of the year. They are 0-3 at home. Losses to Towson, South Carolina State, and Howard, and they've been outscored now 101-54 if you include this game across 4 home contests.
Jabari Dunham into the quarterback spot, hands it off, and guess who it is? There goes that man, Jimmy Robinson, all the way for the touchdown. 60 yards.
Well, when we spoke with Ernest T. Jones of Morgan State, he told us his defense can be beaten by the big play. They're aggressive, they come after you, they get turnovers, but they can be beaten by the big play. Here's a couple of examples. Against Akron, the Zips had 3 passing touchdowns of more than 30 yards. In this game, you've had 2 runs of more than 60 yards by the same gentleman, and he's got some wheels.
Uriel Hernandez on for the extra point. Makes it a 16-0 game for the Wildcats. So the offense for Bethune-Cookman has pretty much been 2 big plays, both courtesy of Jimmy Robinson. 16-0 Wildcats. Online for a reservation. 16-0 the score. Bethune-Cookman has got the lead. Looks like they're both on good terms for right now. 2 mascots over there on the sidelines. But it has been Jimmy Robinson who has been the star in this first half.
And like we talked about before the break, Ernest T. Jones' team, Morgan State, can get beaten by the big play because they're so aggressive. Akron, 3 passing touchdowns of 30 or more yards. Albany had an 88-yard go-ahead touchdown in the 4th. Howard had 2 fourth-quarter touchdown runs of 20 or more yards. And we've seen Robinson tear it up. So it can happen, and it has happened today.
Squib kick will be brought up to the 35-yard line by Morgan State. Not much of a return right there, though I think when Ernest T. Jones thinks about getting beaten on the big play, it's more in the passing game as opposed to the running game, but it has been 2 huge runs of 60 yards and 61 yards by Robinson that has given them 2 scores.
Yeah, credit to Coach Jones. He says, I'm not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to get beat. And if you have an identity, you can be successful. Now, you got to get the right players in, and Morgan State's got a lot of talent. Today, it's not going their way. But the other side of that is, if you sit back against a team like Bethune-Cookman, they can eat you alive that way. So it's a give and take. And I do think that Coach Jones has this program headed in the right direction.
4 receivers for Golot. He wings it. He's got a man, but it's too far out in front of Bailey. Bailey, a preseason All-MEAC second team, is able to beat his man yet again, but this time throwing into the wind, it pushed it too far.
That's a great way to put it, Jeff. I do think that little extra push from the wind, because we've seen a really nice couple of deep balls from Golot. He can deliver this football now, and Bailey can run under these with his speed. This is just a little bit off, and a great idea, though. I think that's going to be there all day, frankly, if they're not going to send safety help over the top.
Second down from the 35, off the hands of the intended target. That could have been a big chunk play, but Deontay White couldn't hold on.
I bet when Coach Jones goes back and looks at this film, he's going to think, we're right there with them. And they're a couple of big plays away from maybe just getting the one touchdown, maybe even getting a couple. So they're really not far off this thing, Morgan State. And good on them to realize that the wind is at their back, so they can throw the football a little bit easier than if they were driving in the other direction. They haven't had this opportunity yet until this point.
I've had a lot of bad third downs in this first half, though. Golot has the snap. 4-man rush. Throws, and this is good for a first down. Taken inside of Bethune Cookman territory as Dalen Baldwin, the sophomore from Southfield, Michigan, makes the play.
I tell you, I really like this kid Golot. I think he can throw the football very well. And on a day like this, you have to be able to trust your quarterback's arm with this wind doing whatever it pleases. This is a nice throw. He gets it beyond the sticks. A good play call to have the routes go further than 10 yards, and a good job by Morgan State to do its job there. They're starting to get something going here. You can sense it. There's a little more juice in the building as well.
17 yards on that last throw. 1st and 10 for Morgan State. Golot now runs this time, and he is met by a swarm of white jerseys. Bethune Cookman brings pressure on the quarterback, and Marquise Hendricks was the one that led the way. We'll go down to the field and chat.
Just had a chance to talk with the Bethune-Cookman coaching staff. They said that they're seeing something in the coverage of Morgan State's defense, and they're exploiting that with Jimmy Robinson. That's why he's been able to have those 2 explosive plays for touchdowns. They say if they get one-on-one coverage, they're going there every time, and they're going to score. Back up to you.
We got ourselves a sideline reporter today.
Absolutely, and he's an electric athlete as well. Golot on 2nd and 14, trying to make it back to the line of scrimmage. And it looks like he's marked out of bounds either at the line of scrimmage or just a little bit behind it.
But to go back to what Chad was saying, he makes a great point. I mean, a lot of football is in-game adjustments. If they're seeing something from Morgan State where they're pretty much playing on the Bears' clear prerogative, which is to come after you and be aggressive and try to get turnovers, if you just kind of slip under that with runs that end up being huge runs, why not continue to do that? We'll see a lot more Robinson, and I'm cool with that. He can really run that football.
Bethune-Cookman not typically known for the run. 152 yards on the ground, but Robinson keeps it up. They might be at that by the end of the first half. 3rd down and 11. Golot against a blitz. Throws. The pass is caught. It's close to a first down as the grab is made by Bailey, and they give him forward progress. The Bears move the sticks.
What did we just learn about Bailey there? He's not just speed. He's hands, too. I mean, that's a ball you got to go get. You got to box out like a basketball player. And Bailey did a really good job of kind of sitting once he caught that. He didn't try to do too much afterwards. He focused on the catch. He's like, I'm good. I'm at the sticks. All right, let me just get down. Let's do it again.
Needed 11, got 12. 1st down and 10 Bears. Golot in trouble. Gets rid of it. Bailey was downfield a little bit, so they're going to say that he was in the area. But I think actually they're going to say maybe he wasn't in the area. Flag is down in the backfield.
I'm listening.
And you could immediately see Golot go over and plead his case. We'll see what these officials have to say. I wasn't expecting a flag, but...
Intentional grounding. Number 16, offense. Penalty was foul is a penalty at the spot of the foul. Also results in a loss of down. 2nd down.
So a 2nd down, it was one of those where you look downfield, and Bailey was there, but he was evidently just too far. So hence the reason for intentional grounding, and now 2nd and 10.
Remember earlier in the game, Bailey was telling his quarterback, hey, I'm doing a go route, but the throw was more of a comebacker style. That was similar, where the throw was closer to a comebacker style, and Bailey was doing the go route. So if he's not near there, then the official can throw the flag. But if Bailey comes back to it, different story.
Golot on the slant, connects with Bailey. And Bailey will make this catch up at the 43-yard line to get a chunk back. Now, one thing is important to remember is that both teams use multiple quarterbacks, but those quarterbacks are both practicing during the week. So it's not like you get to Saturday, one is getting massively more reps than another one. 3rd down coming up. Long ways to go. Take a shot, incomplete. Up at the 10-yard line, it was Darian Polion who was the intended target.
Jeff, the wind just took that one. That was a good throw. That throw was right there. And you know what? He had a couple guys open, and that's unfortunate because you have to be able to play the elements. And when the wind's at your back, you have to recalibrate, so to speak, but it's so hard to do. You can't really blame Golot. He's thrown a number of great balls, but here's what happens. He gets a good, clean pocket, and he throws it, and it's a good throw. And then you see, oh, wait a minute, why is it so far in front of the receivers? The wind just took it in the last 5 yards.
Corey Holmes was trailing the play a little bit. And Polion, I think, the one that Golot wanted, just couldn't find it. 9:56 to go in the 2nd quarter. And Mitchell back to receive. High kick. Mitchell waves for the fair catch, and he'll make it at the 8-yard line.
Good punt.
Beautifully done. Dealing with the wind. It's not easy to put it exactly where you want.
Well, he did a good job of kicking it on its nose, so he gets it more up in the air as opposed to kicking a line drive that you know is just going to sprint past the end zone at that point. Well done on that punt. And I think as this game goes along, you will see all of these players in different units figure out how to play the wind. You'll see it with the quarterbacks, you'll see it with the receivers, and you'll certainly see it with the special teams players as well.
So far, Bethune-Cookman with 2 touchdowns from Jimmy Robinson and a safety to give them the 16-0 lead. Bethune-Cookman will start at their own 9-yard line.
What's going on, Coach? How you feeling?
Handoff is for Tupac Ismi. And Ismi is stopped down after picking up 3 or 4 yards on this play. Ismi, he's the type of running back that Ernest T. Jones of Morgan State was saying that he can sneak through the cracks and then take it a long ways.
And his name is Tupac Ismi. Maybe he is Tupac. Some people think Tupac still isn't dead. If you're going to be Tupac and make your presence felt, you're going to make your last name Ismi, just so people know.
I'm saying it's not the real Tupac. 2nd down and 7. Ismi still in at the running back spot. Now he changes positions. It's kept this time.
That's a good play.
Jabari Dunham, who is in at the QB spot, races it up to the 14, only a gain of 2.
It's good discipline by 3 different Morgan State players. They didn't abandon the quarterback. They didn't just go to the running back. You could have seen that. You could have seen a couple players go to the running back because that's who's been gashing Morgan State. But these 3 players right here, Whitaker, one of them, they make sure to clamp down on Dunham himself.
Whitaker's 2nd in the MEAC in tackles, came in with 57 on the year. Starting middle linebacker in what is one of the best linebacking groups in the entire MEAC. 3rd down, Dunham pump fakes. Now trying to run for the 1st down. He won't get there. Dunham ends up short by about 2 yards. And a nice stand by Morgan State. It's going to be tough to flip the field in this position.
Yeah, I was just thinking along the lines of Dunham himself, the quarterback, he's going back to throw, and then that wind just I mean, it's intermittent, you know what I mean? So if you realize as a quarterback, hey, I can't really throw into the wind or else it's going to be a dangerous play, you got to tuck and run. And good job by Morgan State. Most of the Morgan State defensive plays have been good. They've just given up a couple big plays, and now they got to hope that their offense can get on the board pretty soon.
Giovanni Francis punts. Some pressure on him. Cofield runs up to make the catch and is hauled down to the 44-yard line as Jimmy Robinson was the one that made the play. Morgan State starts in positive territory. Bethune Cookman leading 16-0.
It's hard to stop a train.
Today we'll be back at Morgan State. The Bears taking on Delaware State next Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock on the Sports Fever Television Network. Alongside Varun Ragapathy and Chad Landers down on the sidelines, Jeff Arnold with you. 16-0. Bethune Cookman is getting 2 touchdowns from Jimmy Robinson plus a safety to account for their lead. 7:25 left to go. Golot has been running the quarterback spot after Tyler Holly started the game for Morgan State. Golot is under fire, and this pass is thrown high and incomplete. There it was intended for Deontay White, who has been one of the guys that Golot has targeted. Golot played pretty well last week. It was his best game of the season, 15 of 22, 148 yards. And the Bears set back to Florida A&M. They lost 38-3. And the hope was that Tyler Holly, making his first college action today, would have a little bit of success, and then they kind of go back and forth. But after he struggled out of the gate, they've gone to Golot, who takes a shot deep. The number one target for him in this first half has been Bailey. And once again, the wind pushes it too far.
Yep, that was another case where Manasseh Bailey just beat his man. I mean, he's been doing that all game long, and Bethune-Cookman has steadfastly refused to send safety help over the top. So Bailey's had a couple of opportunities to blow the lid off the thing, and it's only happened once.
So nothing going in the passing game for Morgan State. They do like to run the football, but realizing in a 16-0 hole, and in fact the run game has performed so well, they have to try and use the air.
The teams have flipped characteristics, shall we say.
3rd down and 10. That's a good way of looking at it. This pass is complete. It is just short of the first down. This catch was made by Deontay White. It goes down as pickup of 9, but 4th down, you have it at the 36, 37-yard line. Given where you are on the field, keep the offense out there.
Yeah, you get the wind at your back, but that's a long ways for a field goal, and it's probably not the smartest way to punt it here. It's a little bit too conservative for my taste anyway, so I like this call a lot.
Chase is in the backfield along with Golot.
Oh, boy.
Morgan State saying that someone from Bethune-Cookman jumped in the neutral zone. This time it's on a guy known as Big A, Adrian Allen.
It seemed like Morgan State was somewhat out of the woods when it came to false starts. They had like 4 in the first 5 minutes, and then that's tailed off, but that is the wrong time to pick up that penalty. And I can imagine that film room this week for Morgan State is going to be one that features quite a bit of tongue lashing.
Type of language we can't employ on these airwaves. Though this is a completed pass and a first down. So you're backed up, 4th down and 6, and Morgan State manages to get a completion, this time to Dalen Baldwin.
I really like that call. Stick with it, you know. You're down 16-0. There's plenty of time left, but Bethune is clearly a team that can hit home runs and get big plays. So you want to be able to get on the board. And by the way, Bethune's getting the ball to start the second half. That's part of it, too.
9-yard completion, and now back they go. Golot is taken down. Leading the charge was Devin James, a sophomore linebacker for the Wildcats.
Well, it seems like this has been a big part of the first half, these sacks that come after big plays. And I'm talking about for both teams. You got to credit the defense, but at the same time, both offensive lines, I'm sure that those units, Bethune-Cookman's and Morgan State's offensive lines, they'll have some self-reflecting to do at halftime.
Loss of 8 on the play, so 2nd down and 18. Golot Throws middle. Incomplete.
I think he just looked to run before he caught that.
Yeah, Corey Holmes, 5th year with time at Notre Dame and Purdue, and is kind of the gold standard of the wide receivers in this Morgan State group. He would like to have that one back.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I don't think he heard footsteps. There was a guy near there. I don't think that's what it was, though. I simply think that he turned his head and thought he was going to catch it without looking. Maybe he didn't follow it in all the way. His head certainly wasn't turned upfield, but that's a throw that definitely has to be brought in. And I think Golat's really done a nice job throwing the football today. Got to give him a world of credit.
Looks like it'll be the 20th throw of the game by Morgan State. Golat hauled down. He is sacked again, back at the 45-yard line. He has been under fire this entire game.
Yeah, when he's had time to throw, it's usually been, if not a completed pass, close to it. And there have been a good number of completed passes, but it seems like every other play he doesn't have enough time to throw. And that's going to wear on this entire team. It seems like there have been a lot of drives that started as really promising and then have just gone to nothing. And the more those add up, the more confidence the other team gets and the more demoralizing it is for your side.
Trenton Bridges records his 3rd sack of the year for Bethune-Cookman. This will be grabbed up at the 5-yard line. Surprisingly, no fair catch wave for it. Mitchell, he's quite an athlete. He'll make it to the 15-yard line.
You know what I think he did? I think he lulled everybody into a false sense of fair catchedness. I think he realized that everybody assumed he was going to go for the fair catch, so he caught it, and he wasn't in the end zone. So he's like, you know what? I got a little bit of space here. I'm going to go try and run it out. And that was a really good run. So now if you're Bethune-Cookman, you have a little bit less than 4 minutes. You get the ball to start the second half, and you're up 16-0. A real opportunity here to put it away.
So Kevon Mitchell, not much done there. Bethune-Cookman, the football back. 3:56 to go before halftime. You come to Oregon State, probably want to go get a T-shirt or probably that hoodie. See all the way in the background, or that blue one as well. It is a cool day, a windy day. We're up on the roof. If you're looking for us at Morgan State, Jeff Arnold, Varun Raghupathi, Chad Landers is down on the sidelines. We look like ants from there. But 16-0 Bethune-Cookman. Jimmy Robinson, 2 touchdowns, and then a safety. Meanwhile, Morgan State has thrown the ball a ton more. They haven't been able to get anything going in the ground game, but when they have gone to the air, things haven't usually worked out. Inside of 4 minutes, Jabari Dunham in at the quarterback. Dunham, this is a solid run on first down to the 25-yard line. And it goes down as a gain of 9 for Dunham.
Did these two teams switch jerseys before the game? Because, again, Bethune-Cookman is a team that is known for having a spread offense. They're 0 for 3 passing as a team. Morgan State is known to run the football. They have -3 rushing yards. Not what I was expecting.
Jimmy Robinson with the handoff this time. Robinson is quickly met by Ian McBurrow, one of the talented linebackers for Morgan State. He's taken down at the line of scrimmage, and 3rd down and 1 coming up.
So these are the types of plays Morgan State needs. This Bethune-Cookman team is averaging more than 7 yards per play. A big part of that is the 2 long runs from Jimmy Robinson, but they have still gotten good quarterback runs and runs otherwise, aside from those TD scampers.
Dunham has been in the last couple series for the Wildcats. Morgan State has been going with Golat at the QB spot. Play clock is down to 1, and Bethune-Cookman calls a timeout with 2:42 to go before halftime. As they actually did call it a first down. They forward progress didn't look like it initially was enough, but they moved the chains. Bethune-Cookman, 2:42 left to operate. And remember, Bethune-Cookman will be receiving the football to start the second half. So you're running a little bit more than your 2-minute drill, but this is a chance, like kind of in the NBA, to go 2 for 1.
Absolutely. Oh, I like that. Oh, I really like that analogy. I don't think I've heard that before.
I threw it out there last week, too.
Oh, my goodness. Well done. But you're totally right. And with 2:42 left, and you only have one timeout, you haven't thrown the football, but clearly Bethune-Cookman sees something in the Morgan State coverage that they can exploit in terms of running the football. So it's not a problem in terms of chunk plays. It's just a matter of, can you control the clock enough to where you're not scampering to try to get the field goal unit out or something with like 5 seconds left.
Jimmy Robinson, the feature back, is in there, along with Jabari Dunham. Dunham 1 for 3 last week in Bethune's Cookman's game against Nebraska. He'll hand it off to Jimmy Robinson. Robinson probes the right side and is taken down from behind. Short pickup on this play of 2.
And I guess if you're Bethune-Cookman, the ultimate goal is to not give the ball back to Morgan State. Because if a couple of those passes had connected, especially to Bailey, this isn't a 16-0 game. It could be as close as 16-14. So you definitely want, if you're the Wildcats, to keep the Morgan State offense as far away from the field as possible. And they have a good chance to bleed this time around.
Nearing 2 minutes, 2nd down and 8. Trips to the top of the screen. Robinson shifts his way back up the middle, makes it out to the 31, chips his way forward for 3 more. And a timeout called, like by Morgan State.
So now they're thinking, okay, it's 3rd down. We want to get the ball back, and that's a good timeout right there for the Bears. They have 2 remaining, and this is a tough guy to bring down. But Morgan State's defense realizes that we need a couple of players there to make sure that he's down. So good job by Morgan State to be disciplined and use teamwork to bring down these tough runners.
Jimmy Robinson, maybe the biggest thing he has done all season was earlier this season against Howard, 202 kickoff return yards in a game. 2 touchdowns. He was the MEAC Specialist of the Week. How many times do you hear that? 202 kickoff yards. No surprise that the 2 kickoff touchdowns for both school records.
Oh, of course. And no surprise that Coach Sims for Bethune-Cookman practices special teams plays maybe more than any other team in the MEAC. And, well, it's paid off.
And Bethune-Cookman, one of the best special teams clubs in the entire conference. 3rd down and 5 for the Wildcats. Tupac Ismie is in the backfield this time, replacing Robinson. Dunham gives to Ismie, and Ismie grabbed around the ankles by Colby Warrior, his 2nd tackle of this drive. And Morgan State calls a timeout. A late flag comes flying in as well.
Let's see where this flag came from, because it came late. There was a real delay there.
It was thrown from the official on the far sideline.
Okay, but whose flag is it?
Our referee today is Eric Green. And here's the call.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 57, offense. Half the distance of the goal. That's number 57's first unsportsmanlike foul.
And you think about members of the Wildcats offensive line least likely to commit an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Dwayne Brown, who's the only starter on the O-line back from a year ago. He's at the top of the list, but he is the one called for that unsportsmanlike. And so good job at Morgan State using those timeouts.
Yeah.
You push Bethune-Cookman even farther back, and it's a chance for points.
Well, the scoreboard still says that Morgan State has 2 timeouts. So if that flag comes in, then you kind of cancel it because the clock stops because of the flag. You don't need the timeout. And it looks like Morgan State should have a couple still in the back pocket. But it's now, they said half the distance to the goal after the unsportsmanlike.
So Morgan State, looks like they took a timeout. 3rd down and long coming up. We'll be right back.
Get DirecTV and catch college football games anywhere with the DirecTV app. More for your thing. That's our thing. Visit DirecTV.com.
And 40 left. It was a personal foul penalty against Bethune-Cookman that pushed them even farther back. you force Francis to have to kick into the wind.
Another penalty against Bethune-Cookman.
And so that will mean 5 more yards for Morgan State as they tack it on to the very end of the punt. There was no return on the punt, but add 5 more, 1:40 left. We have seen Morgan State throw the football much more than they are accustomed to in this first half. So what's your game plan here? 1:40 left, trying to get some points down 16-0.
In this very moment, there's no win. So maybe you take a shot because they've certainly come close to points. They have Bailey on the outside, number 13 in dark blue. He can beat his man consistently. He's been doing that all game long. Maybe you take the shot. You still have 2 timeouts, so you can run the ball, run off some of the timer. They're not getting the ball to start the second half. BC is, so you have to make sure to get points here. But I wouldn't be surprised if they took a shot early in this set of downs.
Golot has been the quarterback for most of the first half for Morgan State. He's back, completes on a slant, and Corey Holmes is the one that makes the catch. Solid pickup here, up to the 23-yard line, 7 yards for Holmes.
That's good. You got to get Holmes going. You dropped one earlier, but he's a big weapon for this team. Get his confidence going up. He's got a couple catches now.
Second down. Golot.
Oh.
And Golot is hauled down.
If he had time, he had Holmes.
Marcus Ford is the one that makes the sack, taking Golot down right around the 30-yard line.
Has Golot had 2 straight plays with good protection? He gets good protection, but it doesn't seem like it happens 2 plays in a row. And that time, Holmes beat his man on the far side of the field, but just couldn't get a look from his QB because he was under duress.
Marquise Hendricks is the one that also was involved in that sack. Third down and long for the Bears. Golot takes a shot deep. Does he hold on? Yes, he does! Touchdown, Morgan State! Bailey with a TD.
What a catch. What a catch by Bailey. And what a throw. A perfect throw. But this is no guarantee you're going to haul this in because this is really good coverage. This is step-for-step coverage. Elliott Miller, he is a couple of inches away from knocking that down. Oh, what a fantastic pitch and catch that time. And Bailey finally gets the touchdown he so deserves. And ironically, it comes on maybe the best coverage against him all day.
Remember, all touchdowns are reviewed. And this, actually, they just stopped everything before it got started for the PAT. So Morgan gets the football, great field position, and for the first time when they get good field position, they're able to make something out of it. 30 seconds left in the first half. Rhea on for the extra point. They flip it off instead. How about that? 2-point conversion for Morgan State. They end up turning to Mujahid Friki, one of the tight ends.
Ah, that's awesome. That's so awesome. So when we were in replay for the touchdown, Morgan State actually ran a 2-point conversion play, and it was kind of blown dead. And then they go and they, quote-unquote, go to kick the extra point, and they completely have Bethune-Cookman off guard. Awesome play calling there. And, well, now we got ourselves a different-looking ball game than what we had a couple minutes ago.
Morgan State took only 3 plays, 36 yards. They get the touchdown, the 2-point conversion, and in the span of just not very long, 16-8 score. That's still probably not a happy camper on the sideline in Ernest T. Jones, but at the very least, his team is in it.
He probably thinks his team should be ahead right now, frankly. He thinks his team, based on the opportunities they've had, the mistakes they've made, he thinks they should be in the lead. And maybe he thinks they should be up like 24-16 at this point. But you got to play with the cards that you're dealt. And I think that you got to credit Morgan State for getting on the board before the half ended. If you go in with a 0 on the scoreboard and all those opportunities, that's going to really demoralize a football team, even one with such good morale as this Morgan State team. But to see that 8 on the scoreboard, especially with that awesome 2-point conversion, things are looking up for the Bears.
Ball blow off the tee.
I got to hold it down.
And Juan Robinson will be the one that has to hold it. By the way, just to go back to timeouts, when we went to break previously, Morgan State was not ruled to have taken a timeout, so they still have 2 for what it's worth with 30 seconds left. And they'll send this one to Jimmy Robinson, who lets it go through the end zone. 30.6 seconds left. Bethune Cookman leading at 16-8, and it is Jimmy Robinson, 2 touchdowns that have allowed Bethune Cookman to take this lead. Morgan State has hurt themselves with penalties as well, especially at the very start of the game. The first 2 drives, they committed 5.
Yeah,
but
part of the reason that Bethune-Cookman got a safety is because a penalty pushed them further back. But as you were saying, they're in pretty good shape, all things considered.
We noted this earlier, but Bethune-Cookman will have the football to start the second half. Israel is back into the quarterback spot for Bethune-Cookman. Delayed handoff, and it's run forward by Isaac Washington. Washington makes it back to the line of scrimmage. 15 seconds left in the first half. And it doesn't look like Bethune-Cookman will run another play. He was just standing there. Washington stopped by McCray, and the first half comes to a close. Morgan State benefits from an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, good field position. Golot throws to the end zone for a touchdown, and then a 2-point conversion by Morgan State. I think you made a very good point. Bears feel like they very well could be leading this game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you connect on a pass with Bailey, and that's a touchdown. Maybe you cut down on the penalties and the drives continue based on that. But it's only a 1-score game, and I think that if you are Morgan State, you should be happy about that. They're still looking for their first home win this year.
Let's go down to the sidelines and Chad Landers.
We are down here with Coach Ernest T. Jones. Halftime, have to be feeling a lot better heading in there as it is now 16-8. Can you give me the immediate feeling as you're getting ready to talk to your club there?
Execution. I mean, we two big plays, 2 missed tackles. That's how they got the 2 touchdowns. Other than that, they will have nothing. And then we're getting by them on offense. Our receivers are running by them. We just got to complete the pass. And we're going to continue doing this in the second half.
All right, so you see the smile there. One last question. Your defense is playing really well. Talk to me about that and what you think you can continue in the second half.
We're going to be aggressive. They're going to have to beat us with their quarterback.
All right, simple right there. All right, good luck, Coach. We'll see you in the second half. Send it back up to you.
Ernest T. Jones of Morgan State, head coach of the Bears. Team down 8 points right now as we have reached halftime. 16-8 the score. Bethune-Cookman leads. Halftime coverage starts after this.
16 on the Park Restaurant, Buffalo Wild Wings, Connie's Chicken and Waffles, Glory Days Grill, Dave and Buster's, and Walter's Relocations.
And welcome back to Hughes Stadium. Here it is halftime between Morgan State and Bethune-Cookman as the Wildcats lead it 16-8. Chad Landers here down on the sidelines, and I'm joined by Mark Washington, an alum of Morgan State University. He played on the 1968 undefeated squad here for the Bears. First of all, welcome back to your home stadium. What does it feel to be back?
Oh, it feels great. It's a great atmosphere. You know, the game is not going our way right now, but we'll be back. So it's good to be here.
Do you have any memories of the 1968 team that you'd want to share? I mean, I know it's been a little bit of time, but an undefeated team, that's got to be some fun times for you and your teammates.
50 years ago, you know, it was a long time. But back then we had a dynasty. We had a 30-something game winning streak back then. And, of course, we played Grambling at Yankee Stadium before, 64,000 people. So that was quite an experience back then.
Yankee Stadium, that's a big deal. Now, you were kind of part of a club that had sent a lot of people to the NFL. Can you tell our viewing audience a little bit about your experience after you left Morgan State University?
Well, I was drafted by the Cowboys, and I went there in 1970. And back then, we couldn't win the big one, is what they said. And then, of course, we went to the Super Bowl that first year, and unfortunately, we lost to the Baltimore Colts. But then we came back next year and beat Miami, and I was in 4 more Super Bowls. So it was a total of 5 Super Bowl teams I was a part of back in the 70s. So that was great. But I was used to that in Morgan because we won all the time in Morgan.
So the winning culture just continued.
Definitely.
Now, let me ask you this. When you come back here, what does it mean to you to be a Morgan State Bear?
Well, again, all the fundamentals that we learned pretty much here, and they were transferable over to the professional level. So, that was just a great experience for us to be able to do that,
Do you have any advice for the current student class here that are going through things at Morgan State, and maybe you could impart some wisdom on them from all your years and even stuff you've learned till now?
Well, the thing that we were here, first of all, we were always student athletes first. And so I would implore the other students here today is that that's what they should be doing also, because, again, when I played football, I played 10 years in the NFL, but I had 25 more years that I worked in the chemical industry because I had a degree in chemistry. So that's kind of what the young people would be looking at today is that, football is an important part of your life right now, but it's a small part. You got the rest of your life to do something, and you better enjoy doing it.
Well, thank you so much for coming back. And again, hope you enjoy your stay here. And Mark Washington, a former alum here at Morgan State. We will take another break here as we're at halftime as the band is getting ready to play. And when we come back, we'll look at first half highlights from Bethune Cookman and Morgan State.
Socially here at Morgan State.
Monday afternoon, turning into evening. Bethune Cookman with a 16-8 lead on Morgan State. Jeff Arnold, Chad Landers, and Varun Raghupathy with you. Bethune Cookman picking up 2 touchdowns from Jimmy Robinson, one of 61 yards, the other of 60 yards, but still Varun and Ajay Bailey able to collect a touchdown pass from DJ Golad at the very end of the first half, and after a 2-point conversion was good. That's kind of made this a ball game.
Absolutely, and great job by Chad as well. When talking with Coach Jones, he was like saying what we thought he was going to say. He's like, we should probably be ahead. A couple plays, and we might be leading this game, but at the same time, he understands you kind of got to just roll with it. And it's only a 1-score game. They had a great 2-point conversion. There's no reason to believe they can't get another 6 and then 2 after that. They're in good shape.
Bethune Cookman will have the football to start the second half. Halftime coverage from Hughes Stadium. And it's the Wildcats leading by 8.
Socially here at Morgan State University, my favorite aspect is just the community of campus. Being from Baltimore myself, I always tell people that Baltimore has kind of an atmosphere of a small town. And that's kind of the atmosphere. Socially here at Morgan State University, my favorite aspect is just the community of campus. Being from Baltimore myself, I always tell people that Baltimore has kind of an atmosphere of a small town. And that's kind of the atmosphere you get here at Morgan.
My advice would be to really enjoy your experience. Don't be so caught up in always being in your room. Really go out there and experience Morgan because it's a really fun school.
Morgan State band performing. They do a great job. And the Bears on the field are within 8 right now of Bethune Cookman. Jeff Arnold, Varun Raghupathy with you. Take a look at some of the first half set. Morgan State, they want to establish the run. -8 in the rushing department. 164 yards in the passing game. And you made this great point in the first half, Varun. The style of the two teams has been basically flipped in this opening half.
Bethune Cookman averages nearly 224 passing yards per game. You know what really surprises me, though? No turnovers for either team. Windy day, kind of cold, backup quarterbacks, a lot of penalties, and we still haven't seen any turnovers. That definitely surprises me. But at the same time, you look at this Morgan State team, they love to get takeaways. That's their bread and butter on defense. We'll look for that defense to continue to be aggressive in the second half.
8 penalties for 46 yards for Morgan State, something that You know that Ernest T. Jones will want to see his team clean up. Let's look at some of the first half highlights. It included a couple of big runs courtesy of Jimmy Robinson, but it first started with safety.
That's right, and this came on the back end of another penalty by the offensive line for Morgan State. They were at the 1, they got pushed back to like the half-yard line and couldn't get out of their own way. Now you're taking a look at the runs themselves. This is the first of them. This one went for 61 yards. A great play by Robinson to stay in bounds here and tightrope the sideline and get in. You're not guaranteed of any scores because of how windy it is and how annoying the weather is. So you got to get in when you can. And then this, I don't think, was the fault of the kicker. That was just a really good job by the line on that special teams unit for Bethune-Cookman to go and make that block. Special teams is something they really practice, and it's paid off so far here today. We've seen some really good running from Jimmy Robinson. This was the second big burst. He is really tough to bring down. Between the tackles, he's effective, but you can tell with his stature and his speed, you want to get him outside. The numbers even, and he can really, really make you pay if he gets open space. I want to give a whole world of credit to DJ Golap. 10 of 19 in that first half for 159 yards and a touchdown. Eric Bailey, the deserved touchdown, and then a gorgeous two-point conversion opportunity, completely catching the Wildcats off guard. Really good stuff at the end. Great job by Morgan State to get on the board.
Fricky with a two-point conversion in his hands. 16-8 Bethune-Cookman, the second half. Coming up from Hughes Stadium in just a moment on the Sports Fever Television Network.
Timberwolves Lakers at 10:30 Wednesday on ESPN, presented by State Farm.
State down by 8 at halftime. Bethune-Cookman will receive the kickoff to start the second half. Morgan State in search of its first home win of the year. Morgan State band entertaining the crowd, doing a really nice job out on the field. So if Morgan State wants to pick up a home win and also a rare win against Bethune-Cookman, who has pretty much dominated this battle since the mid-'80s, what needs to happen for the Bears?
Well, they will need to cut down on the penalties. 46 yards isn't bad, but 8 total penalties. A lot of that's false start. It begins and ends with the offensive line being disciplined. And then I know it's going to continue to get colder and the wind's going to be a factor, but keep on throwing that football, man. DJ Golat, there's no need for Morgan State to establish the run to a fault unless they get up. And at that point, you really want to burn some of the timer. But ride DJ Golat out. He's been throwing the ball really well. Go find the likes of Corey Holmes and Menajee Bailey as well, who's been so good on the outside. And keep on trying to give Bethune-Cookman a taste of its own medicine.
Golat, 10 of 19 passing in the first half for 159 yards. Tyler Holly made the start and didn't look like he was quite ready, as started off the game with a delay of game and then a couple procedural penalties as well. But Morgan State, they are still down only by 8, and we noted this earlier for both teams. They use 2 or more quarterbacks, but both clubs are without their primary signal callers today. Kevis Williams for Bethune-Cookman is unavailable, and we have not heard from Morgan State's primary signal caller, DeAndre Harris, either in this game. Rea will be the one to kick it off for Morgan State, and he'll be shooting it long to Jimmy Robinson, who already has 2 touchdowns in this game for Bethune-Cookman.
And he's a prolific returner, as we've learned.
202 return yards earlier this year against Howard, and he'll have a chance here from the 4. Robinson. Good return, makes it past the 30. A flag is down to the 21.
Usually, we know what that means.
Well, let's see if it's holding against the return team. Eric Green, our referee, has been a busy man today.
There's no foul. There's no foul. There's no foul on the play. There's no foul for a low block.
There is no foul on the play. They pick it up. And Al Bethune-Cookman comes out onto the field. Here's Terry Sims, head coach of Bethune-Cookman. 4th year as the head coach of the Wildcats, 9th overall with the school. He took over in 2015. That year, the team won a 4th consecutive MEAC title.
Yeah, he's been a terrific coach for this wonderful Bethune-Cookman program. I'm curious to see how the cold weather, it's colder now than it was a couple hours ago. I'm curious to see how that affects a Florida-based team.
Jabari Dunham keeps here. And on first down, Dunham is able to push his way forward to the 34-yard line. A gain of 3 on this play. We've heard from both Dunham as well as David Israel at the quarterback spot today for Bethune-Cookman. Ian McBurrow is the one that makes the tackle for Morgan State. That's his 4th stop of the game.
And still no completed passes for a Bethune-Cookman team that loves to run a spread offense and can rack up big passing totals.
And very few attempts as well. Jimmy Robinson bouncing to the outside. And Robinson has the first down as he's escorted out of the 44.
But why would you need to throw if you can do that?
Only a total of 3 passes attempted in this game by Bethune-Cookman.
And you got to keep feeding this kid. I mean, Robinson is so good at getting to his spots on the outside. It seems like he's outside the numbers within a blink of an eye. Really tough to bring down as well. I would be curious to know how much he squats because he's not just a small runner. He's a very compact runner of the football.
And Robinson has started to run the football more because Quayshawn Bird, he's done for the year on account of injury. But if you look at the depth chart, Robinson actually listed as a wide receiver. After the gain of 10, it's kept by Dunham here. He's grabbed down by the ankles and knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Chris Fatagoma, senior from Baltimore, makes the play.
So there have been times when this Morgan State defense has stepped up and made tackles for loss or good third down stops. This is one of those drives where they'll need to make sure that Bethune-Cookman doesn't sniff anything remotely resembling confidence. If you let Bethune-Cookman get into your territory and then continue to drive, take some time off the clock, it's just going to be tougher because your defense will get tired. This set of downs could be crucial for both teams.
Just short of midfield for Bethune-Cookman. Robinson into the backfield. Dunham keeps. Dunham, he'll be pushed out short of midfield. Colby Warrior was among those that escorted him out of bounds. And a third down coming up.
That could have been a tackle for no gain, but good job by Dunham to fight and get those extra couple of yards. And he makes it 3rd and much more manageable. Looks like 3rd and 6. Could have been 3rd and 11 right around here, but Dunham does well to elude a couple of guys and manages to pick up a couple more yards.
Dunham's played in about 2/3 of the games for the Wildcats this year. He saw time in 4 games last year, including the game against Morgan State. 3rd down coming up. Dunham to the sideline, and it's a little bit short of his intended receiver. That was Francois, who had 105 yards receiving against Nebraska a week ago. Punting time now for the Wildcats.
I don't know how much of that was wind and how much of that was just a missed throw, but either way, Morgan State will take it.
Down to Chad Landers.
Cookman comes out after the halftime break here, unable to put any more points on the board. Talked with Coach Sims. He was not happy and just told me some short comments. Said the team was playing sloppy. Got to get back to basics if they want to improve here and continue on and get this win. I asked, you are in the lead. What has been working for you? And he just simply said, we've only been getting big plays. That's how we're able to score. We've got to stay focused and finish this game if we want to get the win. Back up to you.
And those 2 big plays really courtesy of Jimmy Robinson as Morgan State takes over.
Coach Jones for Morgan State was saying, listen, if they don't have those big plays, they got nothing. So both coaches on the same page there. It's not sustainable if you're Bethune-Cookman. That's essentially what Coach Sims is saying. You can't just rely on the big 60, 50-yard runs and hit home runs. You have to get good drives going, chunk plays, and it's not that they'll need to complete a pass, but they will need to mix up their play calling. Otherwise, Morgan State's going to be wise to it all second half long.
Morgan State first down and 10 on their own 35-yard line. Dolot into the quarterback. He's from Largo, Maryland. A freshman and a redshirt freshman playing today for Morgan State at the QB spot with no DeAndre Harris. give up the middle. Morgan State tries to run the football. One of the few times that they have gotten some positive yards on the ground. And there, William King, we hear from for the first time today, runs it forward for a short gain.
Well, we'll see what it ends up being, 2nd and what. If it's 2nd and 7, then that'll mean Morgan State's back to 0 yards rushing. They were at -3 in the first half. But you know, they're only down 1 score. It is a gain of 3, so they're really in no rush.
Back to throw. Golot, pass tipped and incomplete. He was going down the seam looking for Xavier Gravett. Holmes was also in the area for Morgan State. 3rd down and 7 for the Bears, who have gotten better on 3rd down this year, but still the stats not exactly where they would like them to be. And in the first half, Morgan State was 3 for 11 in 3rd down opportunities.
Less than 29% for the year coming in, so that sounds about right.
4-man rush. Golot to the sideline, incomplete. Holmes was the intended target. Elliott Miller, the senior from Miami, had him covered up.
And here that wind starting to pick up. It's the most prevalent it's been in the second half. Let's see, Golot's been continuing to deliver the football pretty nicely, and that's not a bad throw. You're putting it where your guy can maybe go make a play. It just didn't end up happening, and you get that 3-yard run, and I guess you start to think, okay, we've had more success passing, let's continue to pass. But if you do that, you get incompletions, clock stops, and you don't pick up any yards. And now Bethune-Cookman's in pretty good shape.
Here's the punt from O'Shea. Hangs up high. Mitchell from the 31. Great job on the coverage by Morgan State. It was Holmes that was able to make the play. Bethune-Cookman football when we come back. Early 3rd quarter, 16-8 Wildcats. Fans, right off I-83, the Delta Hotels by Marriott Baltimore Hunt Valley has everything you need and want. Call today or book online for a reservation. 11:04 to go in the 3rd quarter, 16-8 lead. David Israel back in the game at QB for Bethune-Cookman. Israel has to flip it out to the sideline quickly. Robinson down the sideline. A flag comes in. Make it 2. Robinson takes it all the way to the house. 71 yards, but we'll have to see if it stands.
Do you know what that was, Jeff?
Pick play?
First completed pass for Bethune-Cookman all day long. And maybe that too.
One flag was thrown from the near sideline. The other flag was thrown by the back judge. Eric Green tries to sort things out with his crew.
Robinson's so good at tiptoeing on that sideline, huh? I mean, like, it seems like he's going out of bounds, and then he just stays in and kicks it into a different gear. He's awesome to watch.
Here's the call.
Holding. Number 1 of the offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Still first half.
Kevon Mitchell is called for the holding penalty, and that negates the touchdown. You'll be able to see it on your monitor.
Well, there he is, and it's a little one-on-one crime.
Yep, he grabbed the arm of Dante Small, and good call by the officials.
That checks out to me as well, Jeff. But hey, you know what? If that's how you're going to complete passes, do it that way. Throw it out to the flat, get the ball to Robinson, who's clearly your game breaker at this point, and let him show what he can do.
Now, it is a spot foul, so in fact, Bethune-Cookman goes forward a couple of yards. First down now for the Wildcats, leading by 8.
They got 5 seconds left. They got to get this off.
Down to 2, and they eventually are able to do that. Israel throws incomplete. Mitchell going up against Small again, and Dante Small, the sophomore, knocked it away.
I'd like to play for that coach. I get called for a holding penalty. They throw it right to me in the next play. I'd like to play for Coach Sims. But Mitchell is a great talent, so you don't just get that. And clearly Mitchell brings a lot more to the table than just every once in a while gets called for a holding penalty. But I mean, that's how you keep your kids engaged. You say, all right, you made a mistake, big deal. We'll go right back to you, see what you can do.
Literally one-on-one coverage. On the ground, Ismie. Tupac Ismie. Past the 45-yard line of Morgan State. I beg your pardon, they won't give him the 45. They will mark him down to the 47. But a big run by Ismie.
And what happens? You throw a couple of times, you kind of let the defense think about it a little bit, and then those running lanes open back up. So Morgan State stops that run.
20-yard gain before McBurrow caught up with him. Back to Ismie. And Ismie dragged down this time. Colby Warrior was the man on the scene.
What a name, huh?
Well, he was a Warrior on this play. Got low enough on Ismie. And then a little bit of help also from Fatagoma to help clean it up. No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10. Israel. Back.
Ooh.
Flips it high. Intercepted. Morgan State. Ransom caught it off the deflection, and it is Bears football. Aron Ransom with his first INT of the year.
Good concentration. I know it seems like it should be an easy play, but it's really not. That ball gets tipped up, and you got to stick with it. The wind might move it around. You got to be conscientious of the sideline as well. That's a terrific play. And you know what? The way the Morgan State defense has played, they've given up 2 big plays, but overall they've done well. They pride themselves on takeaways. They got a deserved takeaway there, and now they put their team in position to tie the ball game.
1st down and 10. Golot hands off to Jackson. And Jalen Jackson surges his way forward. Jackson, 4th game that he has played in this year, hasn't been used a ton, but he picks up a couple on 1st down.
I tell you, if Morgan State somehow gets its running game going, it will be really tough for Bethune-Cookman to slow them down. But this Wildcats defense has proven that it can stop the run. But now if Golot goes back to throw, you have to make sure that you can stymie that as well.
2nd and 7. Golot keeps it. Golot knocked out of bounds short of the 1st down. Looked like he brought it into positive territory before he was escorted out. And it's important to note that Ernest T. Jones, you see him listed as the defensive coordinator, but he is heavily involved in the offense. And he does something that's very unusual. He calls both the offensive and the defensive plays. So even though he's very much committed to the run, at the very end he has the final say. And although more running plays for Morgan State to start the second half.
He has
a lot
of
passing plays.
Yeah, he has an OC and a DC, but like you said, he's the one that makes that final call. So he's been the one effectively making the adjustments.
3rd down, Golot throws it behind Corey Holmes. They've been trying to connect with Holmes all day. It just hasn't worked.
Now, at one point, Holmes dropped a pass. He has gotten a couple of receptions, but they haven't given it to him with too much space. And that was a missed opportunity there for Morgan State. Also, on 3rd and 4, you want to get Holmes the ball, but maybe get him to the sticks first.
Mitchell is back for the Wildcats. There's Golot on the sideline. O'Shea averaging 36 yards on some punts today. This one will be against the wind. Low kick. And it takes a Bethune-Cookman bounce. Forward is down to right around the 30-yard line. Bethune Cookman football with inside of 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. 16-8 Bethune.
We're always there. Auto Owners Insurance.
North Complex at Cranberry Woods are your Western Pennsylvania lodging headquarters for all teams and fans. Enjoy your free Wi-Fi, pool, fitness center, and meeting rooms at both locations. Make a reservation.
Offers start now.
Rama Hernandez is added on. So Bethune Cookman, 3 touchdowns from Robinson to go along with his safety, and they have the first points of the second half. Bethune Cookman is in control of this game today in Baltimore. We'll be back in just a moment.
Samsung Black Friday offers start now.
Third touchdown of the game to make it a 23-8 lead for Bethune Cookman tonight in Baltimore. They also got a safety back in the first quarter. And let's look at the next game here on the Sports Fever Television Network. At Morgan State, I'll be taking on Delaware State at 1 o'clock, so make sure you join us then. Alongside Varun Ragapathy and Chad Landers, Jeff Arnold with you tonight from Hughes Stadium. Morgan State trying to win its first home game of the year, but find themselves in a 23-8 hole. Bethune Cookman, if they win tonight, they would go to 500 on the year and get over 500 in MEAC play. Morgan State on the return.
Oh, that's a nice tackle.
Nice job on the coverage, as it's brought forward by Jordan Cofield.
Henry Miller, the second who made that tackle. Really well done. Not only to hold him up, but to wrap him up. Sometimes you see a guy make a tackle and just hold him up and be like, guys, you got to finish this off for me. He's not saying that, but that's exactly what he's trying to do. But here, Miller's just like, I'll do it myself. He goes for the ball, doesn't get it, and ends up getting the leg anyway. That's a really nice special teams play. And you can tell this Bethune Cookman team is great on special teams because they practice it so much.
Goal lot off the hands of Holmes. It's incomplete. They spend time watching video. They spend time every day in practice trying to be good on special teams, and they certainly are. They blocked a field goal attempt earlier, and they're at the very top in kickoff returns. And if you can do a good job on special teams, it can make all the difference, especially when the games get tight.
Yeah. You know, you talk to coaches more so than fans will tell you that they stress the importance of special teams. They can win and lose games.
Golot back to throw. This pass is caught. Maybe enough for the first down. Forward progress looks like Morgan State has enough. And they'll say, move those chains, as the catch was made by Dalen Baldwin.
This hasn't been the case for every play, but I really like that it's simple, but Morgan State does a good job of having its route runners get to the darn sticks. It seems so simple, but you got to have your guys run those routes, because when you got an athletic defense like what Bethune Cookman brings to the table, they will bring you down before you get there.
Goal out on first down and 10, completed, and this is a gain of 9 right off the bat. William King is the one that makes the catch. Seeing King a little bit more in the second half. And this is a night especially where you need your receivers to help you out with the factor the wind has played in this game.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you what, these kids on Morgan State, they got good hands. We've seen it from Bailey. We've seen it from his teammates as well, but especially Menage Bailey. And I love the way that Golot's been throwing this football.
Rolling out.
Nice.
Golot to the sideline, broken up. Nice coverage by Tidarius Peters, the junior. Peters, who's been very active tackling the previous 2 weeks. He had 19 total in the 2 games prior to this one, but they're aids in pass defense.
The reason I said nice is I thought that this was going to be a long play, but instead that throw is a bit late getting there. It's tough to throw on the run, especially kind of coming across your body and against the grain a little bit. But good defense as well.
Stepped in the way of White. 3rd down and 1. 1st down and more. King. Inside the 5. and down around the 2-yard line. A huge run by William King, 44 yards.
My favorite part of this run is the decision that King makes to stay inside the numbers as opposed to going outside the numbers. Let's see if we can find out when that happened. First of all, that could have been a tackle for no gain. King gets out of that. He sticks with it. He's still going, and here's what I'm talking about. King is looking to the sideline. He sees, should I bounce? Should I bounce? No. My blocker has that sealed. I'll go right up the seam where I am, and he almost housed it.
First down and goal from the 2-yard line. Touchdown, Golot takes it himself. Morgan State answers with a touchdown following the Robinson score.
Now that looks like the Morgan State we thought we would see, the team that just runs it down your throat, wears it down, and punches it in.
Rhea in for the extra point, and it's good. One big run, and then Golot takes it the rest of the way for Morgan State. Still Bethune-Cookman on top by a 23-15 score. Just over 5 minutes left in the third quarter from Baltimore this evening.
And look away.
Samsung Black Friday offers start now.
Morgan State getting ready to head back out on the field, have some big stops coming up as the third quarter is winding down. Want to show you something that the defense gets here from Morgan State. It's called the money ball, and whenever they have one of their turnovers, which this is the #1 defense in the MEAC, 4 turnovers, their player gets this. So they just had one, had an interception, got the money ball. #1 on the team is #1 Dante Smalley, has 4 of them. Back up to you, Jeff.
Yeah, and a total of 19 turnovers gained this year. That's top 15 in the country. Morgan State after the touchdown.
Did he just kick a spiral?
I was going to say it was one of my tee shots. Just goes through the end zone. And a touchback will bring it out to the 25-yard line for Bethune-Cookman.
We should point out that that turnover ball, it doesn't specifically come from this, but it seems like just about every turnover reward is born of the turnover chain from the Miami Hurricanes. One of the coolest things in college football. I'm not saying that Morgan State specifically cribbed that, but I am saying that the Miami Hurricanes turnover chain is a very influential piece of celebration across the landscape of college football.
And the other thing is, Bethune-Cookman, they're very good at forcing turnovers themselves. Such an athletic secondary that they have. Jabari Dunham leads the offense onto the field. Been between Dunham and Israel at the quarterback spot today. First down. And a short pickup, courtesy of Ladarian Wilson, between the tackles running back, transfer from Maryland.
Looks like there was a Bethune-Cookman player that was limping. That was on the far side of the field. I thought that was 21, which would make it Tidarius Peters, but he's a defensive player. By the way, that last play, they just got the snap off.
2-yard pickup on the play. And a false start, right side of the offensive line. Looked like it was on.
For this offensive line for Bethune-Cookman, and that is very clear. Great camera work as per usual. And it hasn't just been one team, it's been both teams hit with penalties, and most of them have been false start penalties. So that's on the O-lines.
Looked like he was reaching out to Eldre Barnes for support. Intercepted? No, incomplete.
Would have been 2 for my man right there.
Ransom was making a bid for another one as he stepped in front of Mitchell. Third down and 13 on the way.
I don't think he's happy with himself. I think he believes he should have picked that one off. And if he did, it would be even closer to a tie game. Oh, that's good defense from the wide receiver there, immediately recognizing that's Mitchell, that he had to knock that thing down, otherwise it would have been a pick. Good job by Mitchell.
Robinson is in the backfield on 3rd down and 13. Dunham hits Mitchell. Mitchell makes it back to the line of scrimmage and then gains one more. Dominic Trigg was on the scene, but it's a punt now for Bethune-Cookman. Oregon State down 8.
That's what you're looking for from your defense if you are a fan of the Bears. You get a score, and it's like in baseball. You get a couple runs in an inning, and then you want the shutdown inning, the next half inning. When you get a score, you want your defense off the field. You want your offense back out there, in this case, to try and tie it up. Well done by Morgan State. I think the defense has been really good. Other than the 3 big plays, all by Jimmy Robinson. Obviously, that's not great, but overall, the defense has been solid for Morgan State. They've kept the team in it.
Rico Kennedy looked like he was the one that slowed that play up before Trigg eventually finished it off.
39, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So back a little ways goes Bethune-Cookman. Eric Green, our referee. Giovanni Francis to punt. Francis sending this one to Cofield. Cofield coming to the near side of the field. Still dancing. And Cofield not able to make it to the 35-yard line. A late flag came in after he went down. .301 left in the 3rd quarter. Bethune-Cookman on top by 8.
This is anybody's ball game. I think throughout this game, we probably thought, Bethune-Cookman, they're a couple plays away from breaking it open, but Morgan State's been there the entire time.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Receiving team, number 86. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Fricky. That's not what you wanted if you were Morgan State. You get the stop on defense after you got the touchdown following the big run play, and then Golod taking it in. And now Morgan State has to march backwards. A little more than 3 minutes left in the quarter.
And Fricky's the kid who caught the 2-point conversion on that shovel on the fake field goal for Morgan State. Contributing. Just got to make sure to stay disciplined.
Golot throws, broken up. He was trying to split 2 defenders, not able to connect with Menage Bailey.
A bit of a dangerous throw, but it looked like it didn't get to Bailey, and a rare opportunity for Bailey to catch it where he doesn't come down with it. Let's take another look. Golot put some sauce on that throw, and I mean, that's a tight window, and he does get it in there to Bailey, but that's tough to concentrate through 2 defenders trying to knock it out of your grasp.
2nd down and 10. Golot throws it off, but net at the line of scrimmage. Tidarius Peters was right there to tackle Gravette. So nothing doing for Morgan State, and now a 3rd down and 10 on the way.
No gain on the play. 3rd and 10.
Great form tackling there. Tidarius Peters going low. As a starting Rover made the tackle. 7 tackles last week against Nebraska, then 12 the week before against NCA&T. 3rd down and 10. Golot steps up, throws to the sideline, pass is completed, and it's good for a 1st down.
Right before goal, like literally a half second before Golot decided to run that ball, he sees the open man, and the sideline was like, oh, wait a minute, he's open, throw it to him. And that's exactly what happened. Good job by Golot to stay behind the line of scrimmage. Not an easy thing to do.
Holmes makes the tackle. Remember, as the quarterback, you have to have your entire body beyond the line of scrimmage for it to be an illegal forward pass. Gain of 12. Here's Jackson. No, it's actually Golot that keeps it. And Golot will run for another first down.
You know, one thing we haven't seen too much of, Jeff, is a sustained drive that mixes passing and running that takes a lot of time off that clock and that produces a touchdown afterwards. It's been all home runs for Bethune Cookman, and for Morgan State, it's been either a short field or that big play.
Fake it to Jackson, swing it out. Holmes with his second drop of the ball game. Had it in his hands, and once again, he was looking upfield before he brought it in.
Yeah, and that's one you definitely have to have, and especially from a leader on this team, a guy that has that top-level experience. Schools like Purdue and Notre Dame throws a little bit behind, but that is definitely one that Holmes knows he needs to bring in. And even if he doesn't gain too many yards there, he can still put himself in position to fight for those yards, but you got to catch that ball to make sure that's a possibility.
Wide receiver whose dad played defensive back at Syracuse, went on to be drafted by the Dolphins in the 4th round of the 1989 draft. Golot throws. Nice coverage here. Laguerre was the one that breaks it up, but looked like he might have wrapped his arm around the intended target. This could be pass interference.
We'll need to get another look to pass our own judgment, but at the same time, it seemed from way up here pretty clean, but where we got a totally different vantage point than the officials, so hard to tell.
Flag is down at the 50. I hear from our referee, Eric Green.
Before the pass, they're holding. Defense, number 29. Penalty results in the first down.
We'll say it was good coverage, but Laguerre held right beforehand, so automatic first down. And not really able to tell from that vantage, but it looked like he was just a little bit outside of our screen when the holding occurred.
And all I saw at first was that ball getting batted down, which was clean in and of itself. So I think it was good of the officials to tease out that it was a holding play.
Morgan State from the 50, Jackson. Great tackle. Tried to bounce it to the outside. Jackson was denied as we're inside of 1 minute.
Boy, that is a good play, huh? Because if he doesn't make that play, that's at least another 5-6 yards.
Vernon Walker the third was the one on the tackle. Easy to tell it's him because of those long dreadlocks.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure the first two would be proud of that one.
No gain on the play, 2nd and 10. Play fake. Golot swings it out. And this will not be enough for the first down. White was eventually knocked out. Went to Milford Mill Academy, about 30 minutes outside of Morgan State. Another local product from Baltimore.
He came close. Oh, I guess he stepped out a couple of yards before. Yeah, good call. And that clock is running, and it's 3rd and 1, and there's no need to really run a play unless you want to. You don't need to, but you can.
Nearing 10 seconds. The give to Jackson.
He's got it.
Still on his feet. He's being pushed along. They couldn't quite tie him up all the way. He runs for the first down, and Morgan State will have a first down when we reach the 4th quarter. As we change ends tonight from Baltimore, Morgan State scored the last touchdown of the 3rd quarter, and it's 23-15 Bethune-Cookman with 15 minutes left to play tonight. We'll have it for you in just a moment.
Do it like this. Make it an ass.
That's a good throw because you either take a sack. We've already seen an intentional grounding play, but that's a great job to just have the arm strength to just get that thing to the sideline. That's a skill in and of itself, man. I mean, you just reset, and now you throw that down away, but instead of 2nd and, say, I don't know, 15, 17, you get 2nd and 10.
Golot has been leading the offense today. Remember, DeAndre Harris unavailable for the Bears in this multi-QB system. 2nd down and 10. Back to throw. Has a man. Juggled and dropped. Baldwin had it in his hands. It was picked up, but this is ruled an incomplete pass. As Peters decided you scoop it up, you take it, maybe you score, but then the whistle blew and he realized just incomplete.
Yeah, and you got to do your due diligence, right? But this is clearly an incompletion. It's a good throw. It's delivered on time. That's pretty close. Closer than I thought at first, but I still think that's the right call.
Not sure if he had control of it.
Yeah. Either way, though, I think that a couple of times Golat's been let down by his receivers. I think that his receivers have done well for the most part, but Golat's numbers could be even better. And he's played very well.
2 drops by Holmes in this game. A little bit surprising. Broken up. Nice coverage provided by Laguerre, but a flag. Laguerre was called for a hold earlier on as you had Polian asking for a penalty. First time Laguerre was flagged, it was for holding. Let's see if this is for interference.
Yeah, the first flag was in the backfield, actually. So it could be holding on Morgan State. We'll see.
Another flag back at the 40.
Holding. Number 74, offense. Pass interference. Number 19, defense. Penalties on set. Replay third down.
Okay. So the pass interference, and then Matthew Thompson was also called for a hold, so we'll do it all over again as the fouls cancel themselves out.
Well, that was clearly a hold, and I guess because he has his back arm there, but it was more of a hold than it was pass interference. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Thompson, he's hard to miss. 6'4", 335 pounds. Golat on third down. Is it caught? Yes, it is. First down. What a play by Bailey, hauling it in along the sideline.
And a good back shoulder chuck by Golat. It's one of those throws where you put it where only your guy can get it. We've seen a couple of those from the signal caller for Morgan State. Another great example, and he put it right where he had to. I mean, hey, if it was just holding and not PI, that would have been 3rd and 20, but it was 3rd and 10 instead because of offsetting.
Very true. Jackson keeps it on the ground. And for Jalen Jackson, just a pickup of around 2 or 3. Both teams with touchdowns in the third. It was a 16-8 game at halftime. Bethune Cookman leading.
So here is the completion that moves the chains. And I'm telling you, that's an awesome throw. In fact, it's such a good throw that Bailey doesn't really need to do too much to bring that down. A talented player, he's going to bring it down, but it's great camera work too.
Golat to the end zone. Touchdown, Morgan State. Brevett with the TD catch. 15 yards.
Well, we got to make sure to pronounce the X when we say his first name. Xavier, X Factor, right down the middle. And what a nice throw by Golat. Oh, that's perfect. I tell you what, this kid can sling it. It is cold and windy. He's got no sleeves on. He's got just his hands, not even wearing gloves. This is fantastic work from the quarterback, and then his receivers are playing with him. They're not letting him down anymore.
And down by 2, Morgan State will go for 2. They have converted when they have tried a 2-point conversion earlier in this game.
Yes, sir.
A lot back.
Got him.
Incomplete, but a flag.
Oh, man. That was Bailey right over the middle, and there was nobody within 2-3 yards of him. We'll see what the flag does, but it was right there for the taking, that tie game.
No surprise, you go right back to him.
The flag came
Pass
from
interference. Offense. Number 4. Penalty decline.
They'll actually call it against Polian. So the try is no good, but the touchdown still by Bailey makes it a 2-point game. Bethune Cookman with the lead in
dollars and our best pair you'll ever wear or it's free guarantee.
But look at that. Some excitement from the Morgan State band.
That's how you stay warm, man. You got to gyrate. But they've been great all game long. And you know what? I'm glad we've gotten this close of a football game because Morgan State is a better team than what we saw from the first quarter. and they're proving it here.
This sails through the end zone. The Bears, who have been in a number of close games this season, I mean, they have gotten them left and right. 4 games this year have come down to 7 points or less. Morgan State 2-2 in these games. One of the close games has been the Bears' best win of the year, a 16-13 victory over 4th-ranked North Carolina A&T, and are hopeful that with 13 and a half minutes left in this game, they might be able to pick up a win over Bethune Cookman, a team that has really haunted the Bears for a long time, since 1986. Wildcats have won 22 of the 30 head-to-head matchups. Dunham keeps it on first down.
Oh, I tripped up.
Slips and is short of the 30-yard line.
I think he might have had a first if he didn't trip up there. I don't know if he would have gotten much further than that, or if he would have even gotten to the sticks, but instead of a gain of a couple, it probably would have been an ahead of schedule run. I think it's just a turf monster here.
There's the slip.
That's good blocking.
Second down and 8. The Wildcats.
Look for that block.
Villalobos.
Yeah.
Dunham. This time runs for the first down. Mark him down to the 36-yard line. It's a pickup of 8.
So if you're Bethune Cookman, you have the lead. It's only 2, but you have it. There's really no need to throw the football. They're 2 for 9 in this game with an interception as a team. Not just this gentleman, but as a team, Bethune Cookman is. You keep running. You keep using up that clock. You still got plenty of time to go. If you get into the end zone with like 6-7 minutes left, you're in perfect position. So no need to rush, but you have to stay on schedule with these runs or else you're forced to throw.
Dunham steps up and keeps it. He is hit up high and knocked to the ground.
That's a man making a play. I mean, that's a fantastic piece of play right there.
That was a huge play, courtesy of Antoine McCray. All 345 pounds of him went high and said, "You shall not pass."
Man, that quarterback got sumoed right there. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. You make another play like that, you force a throw. You force a throw, it's probably not going to be as successful as the runs have been.
Short gain of 2 on the play. Dunham to Robinson. Robinson stays on his feet, manages to search forward for just a little bit more before Fatagoma cleans it up.
All right, my man. 3rd down and pretty manageable here. The clock continues to move. You've only, again, completed 2 passes. Do you go to the air? Do you trust Robinson to pick it up? He almost got face masked. He didn't, though. He didn't, but it was close. It's 3rd and 4.
5 wide receivers for Bethune Cookman. I say they throw. Oh, but he keeps.
He got it.
And it's enough for the first down. Dunham out to the 48-yard line. Picked up 6 when he only needed 4. That's why they don't let me call any of the plays.
Well, I was going to say, if you are Morgan State and you see the spread, you don't, stack the box. You can't do that. But do you dare a throw? Do you try to clog up the middle to dare this kid to throw the football? And, they complete it. But if it's an incompletion, you're getting the ball back.
One of the few instances today where Bethune Cookman has converted on 3rd down. They entered today 4th in the MEAC. Robinson met immediately at the point of attack. Nick Burrow, who has had a nice game defensively, was the first one that arrived. And then Rico Kennedy, one of the starting outside linebackers, was there as well.
I think that this Morgan State defense has a lot to be proud of. They could have gone down by a lot. They've given up 3 home run plays to this kid, this Robinson player. And they've still managed to make more big plays than mistakes. The defense is clearly very well coached. It's Coach Jones who does the offense as well. A busy man, but I think the defense has a lot to be happy about because they've kept this team in this game. Without them, there's no chance that Morgan State comes back.
2nd down and 10. Dunham underneath, wanted Mitchell, incomplete. Trey Ravel was the one running stride for stride with Mitchell underneath.
And that's why you dare him to throw, right? You get that early stop, you put them behind schedule, and you see what they have. These are Florida-based athletes. They're terrific athletes, but they're not as used to the cold.
And Mitchell with the gloves on, trying to reel it in.
Dunham is from Eustis, Florida, so he's another one of those Sunshine State kids, and now he's put to the test.
3rd down and 10. Big play for the Wildcats. Dunham to the near sideline. It's caught for the first down. Beautiful throw as he connects with Stephon Francois. Big game last week against Nebraska. He gets both feet in, and the drive remains alive for Bethune Cookman.
What an awesome play by Francois. I think the throw was terrific, like you said, Jeff, but I just love the job that Francois does. He stops. He's like, all right, I got to get one down at least. He knows exactly where the sideline is. And, yeah, it seems like an easy catch, but based on body placement, it's a bit of a challenge.
The hand this time for Isme. No, actually a keep. Running forward, Dunham inside the 20, chased out of bounds, shy of the 15-yard line. Dunham has done a nice job at selling those runs, and he got Morgan State to bite a little bit before he kept it himself and got a nice chunk of yardage.
Yeah, that was really well designed. And what happens when you throw it, you can go back to running because it doesn't just seem like a predictable, hey, same thing over and over again. You complete a pass and you can open up more of your playbook.
This time it's Isme with the football. Isme to the end zone. Touchdown, Bethune Cookman. The Wildcats get the answer. Isme races it in from 16.
Now this extra point is very important. It's still currently a one-possession game, but this is a good job by Isme to just run through what is marvelous blocking. I mean, that's as easy of a touchdown, I'm sure, as Isme will get in his career, just based on the terrific blocking from his guys up front. We have criticized the offensive linemen on both sides for their false starts, but they've blocked well in many cases.
Extra point by an eyelash. Uriel Hernandez just sneaks it in there, but Isme finish off the drive after Dunham did a lot of the work with his legs. Bethune Cookman with a 9-point lead, 8:33 to go in the
D is everywhere. Like here, where you can explore the world, knowing you can always find your way home.
Headquarters. A beautiful night in Baltimore, though a bit of a cold one. Morgan State scored a touchdown and moved within 2. 2-point conversion was no good. And then Bethune Cookman, 10 plays, 75 yards in 5 minutes. And now has a 30-21 lead as that man, Uriel Hernandez, his extra point, made this a 2-possession game. Squibbed forward.
Good blocking.
Cofield out of bounds to the 40-yard line.
That's a good start. I mean, there's plenty of time left for Morgan State. They're down 9, 2-possession game. So if they get their 6, they don't really need to go for 2. But they got to get that 6 first.
Let's go down to Chad Landers.
With quarterback DJ Golat right after he threw that touchdown. And the sideline was excited, and they were certainly loving the touchdown. I asked him on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your confidence in this team? And he simply said to me, I'm confident in all my teammates, and he's going to start spreading the ball around. And that's what he's going to have to do here if they're going to try and get more points here and try and take the lead.
Off with Holmes, gain of 8 on that play. Corey Holmes, maybe not his best game today. I'm admiring Chad Landers' gumshoe work down on the sidelines today, finding a way to talk to Golat.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, like I said earlier, great sideline reporting.
Golat standing in the pocket. Hit once, hit twice. Golat trying to get the first down, and he does just that. How about that effort by DJ Golat? Looked like he was twice dead to rights, but he moves the sticks.
I don't mean to criticize any of the other quarterbacks on the Morgan State roster, but the way that this kid is playing right now, it is really hard to imagine anybody else should have the reins. Golat's been so good on his legs. His throws have been awesome for it being a cold and windy and annoyingly weathered day. I mean, he is the real deal.
That's about as tough of a 4-yard run as you'll have. Jackson up the middle and is tied up by Devin James.
So if you are Bethune Cookman, you lead by 2 possessions, Jeff. I hate prevent defense. I think it prevents the team playing it from winning, usually. But if you are Bethune Cookman, you got to be happy that this clock just keeps on going and going and going. You cannot continue to just play back and play soft, but you have to be mindful that the timer's on your side.
Jackson trying to follow that big offensive line, and a good run for a first down. Out to the 35-yard line on this run. Nice work by Jalen Jackson, the freshman from Detroit. 10-yard pickup.
So it's first down, Morgan State.
Got him.
Golat caught by Holmes. Football came out. Did they rule it a catch? No, incomplete.
I don't know.
Holmes, remember that rule? You have to survive the ground, complete the catch, and according to the officials, he didn't. Hit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was out before he even got to the ground.
Yeah. So it looked like he had it on his fingertips, and he didn't quite have it where he needed it. I mean, they're going to get a first down anyway, but...
Roughing the passer.
On that specific play, Holmes did a good job to bring it in, but that tighter grip, he would have hung on to it. It's moot at this point, but at the same time, they're going to need him to continue to perform. Plenty of time left.
Earlier in this game, we saw Morgan State get a touchdown after an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Let's see if 15 freebies will assist them in this drive as they're down to the 20-yard line of Bethune. Wildcats just scored. Jackson quickly wrangled up and dragged down.
Jackson on the carry.
No real estate there. Jerome Howard was the one that made the play, and it goes for a loss of 1.
I bring this up because there was just a roughing the passer penalty. But if you're Bethune-Cookman, obviously you don't want penalties. But it's even more important not to get penalties because that stops the clock. It's 6 minutes left. There's plenty of time. But you want more taken off.
Goal line. Touchdown! Morgan State, another TD. Dalen Baldwin makes this catch.
Has it been fun to watch Golat throw this ball today or what? I mean, he can really sling it. And he's finding all his different guys. We heard from Chad that he's got confidence in all his receivers. Well, if you put the ball right there, all your receivers can catch it. And that's another gorgeously drawn-up play by Coach Jones. And it's well executed by Morgan State. They've been really good today against a very good team.
Extra point is good. Morgan State might have found themselves a quarterback.
Yes, sir.
DeAndre Harris unavailable today. You start with Tyler Holly, doesn't work out. You give things over to DJ Golat, and he finds a man in the end zone. Morgan State is back within 2, inside of 6 minutes to go.
Possibilities. What we deliver by delivering.
Out of the last 6 drives, and Golat, man, what a day he's had. He's gotten the crowd that has come out pretty excited.
Well, brave people for being out here when it's this cold, but the ones that have stuck around have seen a fine second half of football.
Robinson will take a knee inside the end zone. Bethune-Cookman will bring it out. Last time that Morgan State was at home, they lost to Howard 35-26. And have constantly been in tight games this year, 2-2 in games decided by 7 points or less. And Ernest T. Jones, we talked to him earlier this week about it. He says it is frustrating when you're losing those games, but it's all part of the development process. And kind of for Morgan State, trying to change the culture. You go 1-10 the previous season, and it's almost like you're learning how to win again. And this could go a long way if they can find a way to defeat Bethune-Cookman, who has a 2-point lead with inside of 6 minutes to go.
Both teams all 3 timeouts. Ooh!
Dunham sacked in the backfield. Morgan State getting a big play from Colby Warrior. He's had a nice night.
He absolutely has, and I tell you what, this is the time for the Morgan State defense to shine. Yes, they have given up 30 points. Yes, they have played from behind all game long, but they have also made a number of big plays. It's just now that their offense is starting to wake up, and so if the defense for Morgan State continues this onslaught, they will put their team in position to win the game.
Loss of 5 on the sack. Dunham decides to run with it. And Dunham escorted out shy of the 20-yard line. Ian McBurrow, the one that makes the play. And Bethune-Cookman, once again, operating behind the sticks in a 3rd down play.
Yeah, they'll need another long completion. That's a great play by McBurrow. Usually, we'll talk to coaches, and they'll definitely gas up their players. Oh, our linebackers are great. Our defensive backs are great. No. The Morgan State linebacking core is as advertised. Their coach talks a big game about them. They back it up on the field.
3rd down and 16 now for Bethune-Cookman. Give it off to Malik Jackson. Malik Jackson, nice chunky yardage gain back. But after the sack and another negative play, it won't be enough for a 1st down. And punting time for the Wildcats.
I actually like this play call. If you're not as comfortable throwing it to get 16 yards, this is a good way to try and pick up some yardage. It didn't seem like they were really bent on getting that 1st down with that play call. But at the same time, you put it in your athlete's hands and anything can happen. I guess they didn't want an interception. They wanted to flip the field, make it even tougher for Morgan State. So you got to look at it holistically.
Francis sends it back to Cofield.
Whoa, oh.
Kick catcher's interference. 2 flags come in.
And you know what? That's a perfect punt, too, and that it doesn't matter at this point.
Press down to the 14-yard line. But Morgan State will be in a great spot with 4:18 to go.
Man, oh man. Well, we've seen a lot of penalties, and that may very well be the biggest one of the contest.
Terry Sims, the head coach of Bethune, looking on.
Catch interference. Kicking team. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run.
15 yards.
First down.
Eric Green didn't say who it was against, but we'll have a look right now.
I tried to hold up, and he just...
Yeah, that's on Jimmy Robinson. And right into Cofield.
And Robinson has 3 home run touchdowns. So you can't just be like, oh, Jimmy, what are you doing? Because without Jimmy Robinson, it could be 28-10.
Now, Terry Sims told Chad Landers earlier that he's not happy with how his team is playing. He thinks they've played a sloppy game, and it really has been by Bethune standards.
No doubt. I mean, penalties for Bethune, 10 for 107 yards. 9 penalties for Morgan State, but only for 61 yards.
Here's a run by Jackson. Jalen Jackson, 1st down yardage. Brings it inside the 40-yard line.
I got a question for you, Jeff.
Go.
If Morgan State continues to rack up huge chunks of yards on these plays, at what point does Bethune tell itself, maybe we let them score? Does that ever come into play?
I'm not sure at this point. Jackson trying to change his field. Looked like there was a face mask by Jackson, and he gets sent back quite a ways.
Well, never mind that school of thought, because that's a great play by Bethune-Cookman to go back and take him down. And that clock continues. Again, both teams have all 3 timeouts, but as that clock continues to move, it doesn't help the trailing team.
In Duquay, looked like got a handful of face masks, courtesy of Jalen Jackson.
I guess if they don't see the fingers curl in a grab and the head moving, then they won't call it, but that's great camera work.
2nd and 23 from the 50. Goal line. Flag is down. Goal line got hit high inside the 45-yard line by Devin James. And this flag in the backfield at the 47-yard line.
It's right there for Morgan State.
Here's a call from Eric Green.
Holding. 59. Offense. 10-yard penalty. It's your first down.
Adrian Allen, that's his second penalty of the game.
At this point, Jeff, it seems like each and every offensive lineman on both sides has at least one penalty against him. And there's another example. Yep, that's pretty clear right there. So that's crazy. I mean, they need to get to the other side of the field to the 27-yard line for a first down.
This is very similar to what we saw at the very beginning of the game for both teams.
Yeah.
Second down and a mile. Golot throws deep. Flag is in. And it looks like we might have pass interference. Bailey got a little push along the sidelines, and Elliott Miller appears to be the guilty party.
And Miller has, for all intents and purposes, he's definitely been beat a couple of times, but he's done a good job overall on Bailey, who is not an easy cover. And I think in that instance, Bailey had him beat. But we'll have to see the replay.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 7. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Automatic first down. Miller in disbelief. But it looked to be a pretty clear pass interference penalty.
Wow, on 3rd and 33, Jeff.
And now Morgan State has the football at the Bethune Cookman 45-yard line, 2:50 left. Terry Sims beside himself.
I can imagine.
Loth snap, and this ends up losing yards.
That's how you pick up your defensive backs right there. That's how you pick them up.
Goodwin had the handoff, but then he was taken down in the backfield. Loss of 5.
And neither team has taken a timeout. Obviously, Bethune-Cookman wouldn't take a timeout leading, but with less than 2.5 to go, when does it become time for Morgan State to start using its timeouts? It has all 3 currently.
Second down and 15. Goal line. Threw it too fast, incomplete to the 45-yard line. That's a hard hit. Goodwin, once again, was the intended target. Take a look at this hit at the very end.
Yeah.
And I think you can understand why some on the Morgan State side might have wanted a penalty there.
Yeah. The replay slowing it down makes it seem like it was a lot further away, the incompletion and then the hit. But it's still definitely something Bethune-Cookman needs to be wary of. You cannot be undisciplined at this moment.
Third down and 15 from midfield. Play clock down to 5. Goal line is sacked. Marquise Hendricks, the red shirt junior, came in with his hair on fire. And another huge loss.
I mean, free rush, right?
Unblocked.
And here's the thing. On 3rd and 15, with your team down to a couple minutes left, I was surprised that there wasn't a safety valve there, because it's probably 4-down territory. You need those points. You need to get at least a field goal. So on 3rd and 15, why not try to get 7-8 yards there? Everybody seemed to run a go route, and that's great if somebody gets open, but Golot didn't have enough time to make the play. And like we saw, just a free rush that time and an easy sack.
Now it'll be kicked by O'Shea to the dangerous Mitchell. Waves for the fair catch, and it takes a Bethune-Cookman bounce before it's eventually downed by Morgan State at the 35-yard line. 1:20 left in this game, and both teams with their full complement of timeouts.
Right, so that means that after every Bethune, obviously going to be a run. After that play, timeout, and then timeout again. So for Bethune-Cookman, if they get Jimmy Robinson breaking free and ripping off a big gain, then that probably does it. But Morgan State's not out of it just yet. They have those timeouts, and they can still force a punt, maybe a turnover, get the ball back.
And you will look back, if Morgan State falls in this game, you will look back early on at that last drive and the number of mistakes that they made. They were helped out by a pass interference call.
On 3rd and 33.
On 3rd and 33, but still got themselves into hot water early on in the drive. Dunham to Robinson. Robinson is tied up. Kind of want this play just to reach its conclusion. Timeout, Morgan State.
Yeah, you go for the ball, obviously, but the more seconds you use trying to get that ball, the more seconds come off the clock. And so it's a give and take.
This was a 16-8 game at halftime. We saw scores exchanged in the third quarter, and then the fourth, we've had a lot of back-and-forth activity. Bethune-Cookman leading it by 2 against Morgan State on a cold night in Baltimore.
Cold is right. This was a 16-8 game at halftime. And so Morgan State, by getting that late score at the end of the first half, they knew that they were right there. And the offense picked it up. The defense continued to play pretty well, but Bethune-Cookman, if they do come away with this victory, they can credit the home run play. That's the reason they won the game. It's not sustainable over a full season, and Coach Sims didn't think it'd be sustainable over this game, but so far it has been.
Morgan State, if they dropped this game, they'd move to 2-7, 1-4 in the MEAC. Wildcats, with a win, would move to 5-5 and 3-2 in MEAC play. Gain of 1 following the timeout by Morgan State. Ismie is in the backfield with Dunham. They give it to Ismie, and Ismie surges forward to the 39-yard line. Ismie with a gain of 3. Morgan State uses timeout number 2.
Timeout, Morgan State. 30-second timeout.
That's a pretty nice run. Yeah, you get those extra couple of yards, and third down instead of 3rd and 8, 3rd and 6. There's a big difference there. And so if you're Bethune-Cookman, you are a first down away, but Morgan State's run defense, other than the home run places, bottled them up pretty well. So this game certainly isn't over yet. We still have 1:07 left, but it is going to be really tough for Morgan State to pull this thing out. And you got to give credit to Bethune-Cookman. They never truly relinquished control of this game, even though Morgan State got close and closer and closer.
Nonetheless, I don't think that film review that follows of this game for the Wildcats, that might be a pretty unpleasant session.
Oh, no. Coach Sims is going to be very, very displeased.
I mean, a ton of penalties in this game by Bethune-Cookman.
You ready?
How many?
11 for 122.
And Bethune-Cookman, a team that is not penalized all that much. They came into this game the least penalized team in the MEAC.
48 penalty yards per game, 64 for their opponents.
An illegal substitution here.
Okay, defense. Hey, defense.
And now 3rd down. Bethune-Cookman behind the sticks.
Shut him down, defense.
1:07 left. Morgan State with 1 timeout remaining.
3rd and 11.
3rd down and 11 for the Wildcats.
They spread everybody out.
Wow, that's confusing.
They flip it off to Ismie. Ismie to the 39-yard line. You saw everybody lining up. You're wondering if they had enough men on the line of scrimmage. They did. And the Bears will use their final timeout. 1 minute left in this game.
So you're thinking punt, unless it's pretty returnable, fair catch, and then with like 55 seconds left, you got to get it to, well, you want 6 just to be sure about it, but you got to get it to a range that's suitable for your kicker and then go from there.
Oregon State, no timeouts left. 1 minute remaining in this game. And it's important to note that when the ball is punted, it will be against the wind, and Morgan State will have the wind at their back as it's just started to pick up again.
Yeah, good point. And for a potentially game-deciding kick, that'll be a big, big factor.
Morgan State tried a kick earlier with Rhea, and that ended up being blocked. 30-28 lead for Bethune-Cookman. Cofield returns. And Giovanni Francis will boot it away.
Good kick.
And it goes out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. It puts some leg into it. And it will be starting field position of the 17 for Morgan State. 83 yards they'll need to travel with 53 seconds left and no timeouts.
Well, if you are Bethune-Cookman, you have to shut down number 13 in blue. That's Menashe Bailey. He has been burning defensive backs outside the numbers all game long. There's Bailey. He just left the screen. But you have to make sure that you got safety help over the top there. I mean, there's no excuse for it at this point in the game to have otherwise.
Morgan State at their 17-yard line.
Goal line has been at the quarterback pretty much the whole game. Holly started it, but did not last long. 4 wide receivers. Goal line. Takes a shot. Guess who he's looking for? But it's intercepted. Intercepted by Bethune-Cookman. Trevor Merritt with the INT. And the Wildcats will escape Baltimore with a win.
What a catch by him. Oh my goodness, what a catch.
The hands of a waiter.
Whoa. I didn't think he did that much with it. I knew he intercepted it. I thought it was a drop at first, but then when the ref said it was, I mean, that's an amazing catch. I think at 3 different points there, he had to recalibrate his hands to make sure that that ball was still in his mitts. And that was a pretty good throw, too. I mean, that was a good play call. Get that ball as far down the field as you can, but so well done. That's what happens when you get that safety help over the top. Look at that play.
One-handed, two-handed in the cold. You're wearing gloves. Merritt with his 3rd interception of the year. And for Morgan State, it's another one of those days. You get close, but you can't quite get it done.
You know, Coach Jones, Ernest T. Jones, I thought he did a really good job with his offensive play calling. I thought his defense made plays for the most part. I know it's tough. You still don't have a home win for Morgan State, but they played really well. They stuck in this thing the whole way through. And credit to Bethune-Cookman. They come up north to the cold. They pretty much have to totally redo their philosophy. They like to throw. They had to run. Jimmy Robinson was amazing. Hope to see him at the next level one day, but a great game all around, and Bethune-Cookman just made one more play, a couple more plays.
Officials are over on the sideline reviewing this just to make sure that it was, in fact, an interception, that it was not dropped by Merritt, but based on the replays that we looked at, it looked like Bethune-Cookman. It'll just take a couple of kneel downs, and they will leave here with a win. There's Eric Green, our referee, on the headset with the replay official tonight, Dwight Hitterford.
This will be a tough pill to swallow for Morgan State, but they've definitely shown a lot. We know that DJ Golak can really play a quarterback, huh? And they've got weapons as well. Good linebacker. It's a good team. It's just Bethune-Cookman is as well. And that's a tough one for Morgan State, but all the credit in the world to the Wildcats. They came up here and they did their job, and they come out of here with a deserved win.
Trying to replace DeAndre Harris. You knew Golot and Holly were going to play. And then when Holly struggled, Golot came in, and he kept Morgan State in this football game. Some really exciting drives that he engineered in the 4th quarter. But he throws a pick as it stands right now and gives Bethune-Cookman the football with 45 seconds left tonight in Baltimore. The 5th game that Morgan State has been involved in, coming down to a touchdown or less. Here's one more look. Got the hand under.
Look, I'm fine looking at this all day.
Like super slow-mo here. Yeah, that hand is under the football.
Oh, yeah, it is.
That is an interception. But still.
That's an incredible play. Hopefully SportsCenter top 10. I mean, that's an incredible, incredible play.
Officials are taking quite a bit of time to examine this. Obviously, it's a play that would end the game, so you want to make sure that you get it right.
Yep.
So Eric Green on headset. Here's another angle on it. One hand. From that look, his hand is under the football. So a couple angles kind of showing us the same exact thing.
Yeah, I know they want to be thorough, but I think that we have our definitive evidence.
We continue to wait on the rolling while the band serenades us at Morgan State. Morgan State, next game that they will play, we showed you the preview for it earlier, be against Delaware State. That'll be the second to last game of the year for the Bears. The final game of the year on November 17th at Norfolk State. Their final 2 games of the year will be at 1 o'clock.
Okay, me thinks this review is taking too long.
Could this possibly
if they overturn,
be changed?
I mean,
we have seen several definitive angles from the truck.
If they overturn this, I would have to wholeheartedly disagree with that assessment. But I really don't think they will. I don't think they will.
Yeah, but this review is taking an incredibly long amount of time to be completed. Our referee is Eric Green.
Well, I'm wondering what he's waiting on. You got a couple of people that are that talk to him and kind of talk him through it. And you got your replay official as well, just to make sure. But I don't think this is a productive use of time. I'd love to continue to watch the interception. Was an amazing, amazing play, and it's really, really cool that a game could potentially end on a play that amazing. But
it was an exhilarating play.
Yeah, it looks like.
And now the headset is off from Eric Green. See if he'll confirm the call on the field, which is interception.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. Interception results in the first down, Bethune Cookman.
So it took a little bit longer, but they wanted to just make sure it was right. It stands as an interception for Trevor Merritt. Merritt's 3rd INT of the year.
Coach Sims, I think he's thinking he's like, come on, what's taking so long? I want to get home out of the cold.
I want to get back to the warm of Florida.
Yeah, seriously. And he's still probably pretty mad about that.
Take the knee down. I'll need to do this one more time. Bethune Cookman back to 500 on the year, 3-2 now in MEAC play. As a week ago, after they lost to Nebraska, traveling to the Big Ten, they come to Morgan State conference weekend, and they're able to escape with a 2-point win. It was not always pretty for the Wildcats tonight. Way too many penalties, more than they usually make in games. And Morgan State got a solid performance from goal line. Remember, you didn't have your normal quarterback today, but goal line did a really nice job over the course of that 4th quarter. But in the end, a 2-point win for Bethune Cookman. Special thanks to everyone in the truck. Dave Emenheiser, our producer, Doug Chicatano, our director, as well as for Chad Landers on the sidelines and Varun Raghupathi. Jeff Arnold saying thanks for watching. Final score tonight from Baltimore, Bethune-Cookman, a 30-28 win. We will talk to you next week on the Sports Fever Television Network.